Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is of particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Michael Kahn, Sarah Griffiths, Rob H, Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsitt, John Kays, Tommy Swagnuts, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Maris, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, theflatearthchannel.com, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Confusing to me, like, or not confusing, just odd, I guess, when you talk like the Jewish faith and like bar mitzvahs and stuff. But it makes more sense to me now because unless you tell somebody, hey, you're a man now, you need to behave like a man. Like some people, they just continue this mentality of behaving like a child throughout their whole life.
Well, it's also important for the family to recognize and stop treating that young man or the kid as a boy. So it's not just for the kid to become a man, it's also for the family to recognize that he's now a man. Or like you said, they're always gonna think you as a boy because that's who you are to them, I guess.
Well, I think it's comfortable for them too, right? Because like it helps them to look that way because they can then not look at themselves as aging as much as they are. You know what I mean? Because life starts going by so fast, and it's easier to hold on to those times and kind of ignore some of the BS that's going on now. Or you know what I mean? Or the fact that you're getting older. Their kids
or
are
like
off to college
snapshots, like a time
like,
where your child will always be innocent and kind of like you'll always think of them in that way, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. But the holidays, man, it's always weird, because I feel like it's a bunch of people that they're your family, but I don't know, I hardly ever talk to them. I hardly ever see them.
It seems like a fake relationship then.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like meeting strangers again, like strangers but like you don't have anything in common with them at all.
Strangers with benefits. Pass the turkey, please.
Strangers that give you free meals.
Polite strangers.
But I think also the reverse, I think that's also why I've been able to at least try to relate with strangers in more of an empathetic way. And that's sometimes to my detriment. Because you people are brutal out here, man. I ain't trying to be no candy ass, but y'all know what it is.
What do you mean people are brutal here?
That's just a generalized statement. I'm not speaking to anybody specific. I'm just talking about the world.
Talking about all the naysayers against moderation. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about, notice how people are taught to be like rebelling now? Basically being taught to rebel. Have you guys noticed that?
I see the opposite. I see it's being taught to obey.
There's a dichotomy in all this. There's the obey, and then there's the rebel one. But look at it this way. If it was taught to be obey, there wouldn't be teachings of rebelling. Because what's going on in communities and stuff like that, there's division. Why is there division? Because people are rebelling one idea against another idea. Right? This has also always been around. Now the obey part is what you choose to obey. There's a well, actually no, it's obey or not. No, it's what you choose. Oh, everybody's in here now. Isn't it early? No, it isn't. See. Anyways, I've been noticing a theme about like disobedience kind of happening everywhere. I was saying theme of disobedience, but it seems like it's being taken to another extreme. Instead of it's getting to a point where people are not obedient to anything anymore. People just kind of do what they want, kind of like, yeah.
Well, what do you think they're selling with the whole your truth? You know what I mean? And everything's just, everything's subjective.
Yeah, who's selling this? There's a saying going out there, it's your truth.
Oh yeah, that's been going on for a while.
Well, I've noticed like there's that Bill Gates. Bill Gates funds this. I guess you could call it a nonprofit, but it's called Math is Racist, right? And it's specifically designed to raise impoverished children's like ability to do math. So they sell it to kids as, hey, didn't you hear that math is racist? So they're kind of like getting them all charged up, and then like it's an excuse to show them math and stuff. So it's like a super complex meta, like trying to control or get people to do things for all different ulterior motives. It's crazy out there, man. I don't know.
Right? Kind of like Nathan here, right? This is his house. He runs his house as He's led to run it. And if you start telling him how he should run a show, and complaining and whining, we're rebelling. And we're out of our jurisdiction. That's the problem. We're not. It's not our house. Neil, what are you saying? Kind of chopping. Neil, try to say something.
Can I check?
Yeah, you might be starting to come in now. Try again.
Check.
Say something more than check.
Sorry about it. Continue. I had something really good today, but I don't have reception here.
Yeah, it's pretty choppy.
I can hear
Well,
great.
try anyways. Try to say what you were going to say really quick.
I Googled. Nah, I'm not even in.
Yeah, we heard you. You Googled what? Okay. That was pretty bad, Neil. Couldn't really make up anything he said.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't want to ruin the show. Continue.
Right. It almost seems like you were going to talk about the sextant. Well, who else is here? Is 10th Man and the other guys in the hangouts here? Alright, I guess we can get back to our Discord party. Then Cleanser. Anybody? You know, just because we went live doesn't mean we can't still communicate.
Now Nathan's got to deal with Harp and me, so tag teams arrive. I'm kidding.
Is Harp here yet?
Good morning, mic check.
Morning, 10th. Yeah, Harp is here.
Yes, I'm saying nothing.
Harp, you got strings attached. Come on, give us a tune.
That's the wrong harp, man. It's 2 A's.
Every time I hear your name, I think of that harp.
Well, I do play guitar, so you're kind of right.
Good job. So you put your music in the neck of the woods, I would say, with a guitar.
And I'm up in the mountains, kind of close to the woods.
Where's everybody?
Well, there's a few of us in Discord.
Who's in Discord?
Harps and Cleanser Steve. Hammer.
Hello. Hammer, Steve Cleanser, hello.
Morning, morning.
Morning,
There's a-
gentlemen.
There's a guy in
You
the
guys-
chat claiming that the Earth has a what does it say? Turns out horizon is a physical Earth edge.
I get a
His name
mic.
is F.E. Pilot.
Yeah, we hear
Yeah,
you. Neil.
Neil, I hear you.
So I guess that's it. Oh,
You're roboting again.
What's that you were saying,
Hello.
Harper, about the guy in chat?
So I guess
Harper, you were saying something about somebody in chat?
Yeah, remember that guy? Excuse me. Remember that guy the other day, F.E. Pilot?
Yeah.
And we asked him to bring the video. So it's not, well, it's a video. It's in 3 parts. He's claiming that the horizon is a physical Earth edge again, like he was doing the other day.
So he's saying he's flip-flopping between geometric and non-geometric.
He's saying it is geometric. He's saying it's an Earth edge.
Well,
All right, well,
get
he's
him to
behind with
talk.
the times then.
We'll get him to talk with the anti-flat earthers then.
Let's see. Why does it drop below eye level in the video? Just zoom it in, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's this guy. We were dealing with this guy the other day. And what's his name there? I just showed him a different picture where you could see straight across. And so you know what he said, right?
This guy,
Oh,
no, the
he
black
says-
swan.
Well, yeah, sort of, I guess.
Well, because if he's insisting that it's geometric, not only does it change from hour to hour, day by day, but your 3959 radius is 40,000 in one picture and 1.7 million in the next picture. And those are just
Right.
2 black swans.
Oh, he says there's no refraction in his pictures. And so I took a still, and of course there's refraction in his pictures. And of course the picture that Roy just presented, he said, well, there's refraction in your picture. So they don't really comprehend how this works.
Oh yeah, when I seen something like it was squiggly, it wasn't like straight lines of building in the background. I said, well, that's refraction. And they're like, what do you mean? I don't see refraction. And I'm like, well, you guys can spot it on the bendy crane, but not on this. So
I think if the horizon changes location, then we just made our point, right?
Yes.
Right. But they don't get it.
I thought so.
yeah.
When you see the bendy cranes, those are thermal. You're low in the sky. You're not way up there where refraction is less. And I think Andrew Thomas Young even calls it thermal.
Well, I was just using their argument against them is what I was doing when I said that.
Sure, but
Because they were just pointing at something that...
Sinclair's right, though. The moment they concede to either refraction or the horizon has moved, then your argument is won at that point. So it's just recognising where you win. The horizon's not Earth curve at that point. So if they say refraction, it's like, well, your refraction requires R. It's a derivation of the R value. Well, where'd you get R? Black swan. You can't get it if it's not geometric. You can't derive the R from the geometric horizon anymore, because according to them it's refracted. If they acknowledge that it's moved, 10th man just made the point, well, so you're saying the physical geometric sphere edge that you're going to derive R from has got bigger or smaller on a given day? No. It's supposed to be a geometric limitation. That's what they're measuring it as, and they need to measure it as that to claim refraction, because their refraction's based on R. So they're screwed either way at this point. The moment they acknowledge the horizon's not moving, it's no longer Earth curve.
Speaking of know when you won. Yesterday on Mitchell's broadcast, he had Rob Durham on, and Rob showed the teardrop circle of unequal altitudes that you get on a globe, and they can't do navigation by it because it distorts so bad. Now the argument's won there, and yet the followers or anti-flat earthers in chat continue to go on to another point after that, meaning, well, what about 69 miles? What about this? What about that? They kept throwing stuff. I go, it's over. You already lost. I mean, if you already lost, why are we talking about other things? So, yeah, know when you win, because they'll just keep throwing stuff at you, ignore that you won. They've been knocked out, dragged out of the ring, and they keep wanting to come in for the title fight, but already someone else is in there, and they've lost, but they don't know they've lost because they don't listen. They don't compute.
The argument's won fast, so it's going to slip by a lot of globers and flat earthers that they've even won. Yeah, the moment we talk about angles, we're talking about two straight lines. That's where you've won. Yeah? Now what they need to do is brush past the fact that they need to acquire an angle on a flat plane and immediately move the angle that's been measured on a flat plane, it needs two straight lines, to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. But they've got to get the angles that they're claiming in the first place. So don't step over the fact that you win the moment they measure an angle. How'd you get the angle is the question you need to focus on. How did you get this angle? Because that requires two straight lines. Flat plane required. The geometry insists upon it. So before they can move it to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth and beg the question of R, they've got to measure an angle. They've got to utilise a flat plane. So that's where you win. And if they say, no, well, it's just the same on a sphere, well, show us getting a curved adjacent. You can't. There's no such thing. It's nonsense.
Yeah, well said. You remember when we first started this discussion, the basics, what was the claim? The claim was sextant is an angle measuring device. That was the first claim. And it can't work off of a curved baseline. That was the second claim. Those are still my only two claims. I haven't made any more claims than that. And look where that's progressed now.
I've already seen it in comments, people stepping over the fact they've won. And the Fundy trying to go straight to, well, 1 degree every 69 miles is the Earth with the compass at the centre. And therefore you're moving the circle around by 1 degree, and that's your 1 degree. It's like, no, where'd you get the measurement from? Where'd you get the 1 degree from? You certainly didn't measure it from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, you measured it at the surface. Flat plane required, flat Earth proven. You're not going to be able to do this on a sphere. You have to assume it's flat to start this process. We've won. We won back in 2020, really, with the Black Swan. The moment you annihilate their position, they're the opposition, anti-flat Earth or globe, they're both our opposition, with technically the same belief. Well, the moment we disprove that belief, that's the end of the discussion, that's the end of the debate. Because the positive claim is what needs defending. The positive claim being Earth as a sphere. Well, that's been destroyed 2020, 1st Jan. That was the end of that argument. Up until that point, they had a thread that they were hanging on by. Now we're into, this is a proof of the nature of the world. And not only have you had your insistence to beg the question of R taken away from you with the Black Swan, now, in order to get around this argument, you've got to beg the question of a flat plane first. You can't then move on to beg the question of R, because we've destroyed it. So what are you left with? Well, you're left with navigation on a flat plane. So that's where you start, that's where we start. Moving on, you're going to move on and beg the question of R. No, you can't get R. And you've already measured angles on a flat plane. No adjustments required. No sphere account taken. None. Flat plane needed to start the process for both parties, flat and globe. R can't be assumed after the fact because we've destroyed it with the Black Swan. This is the end of the argument.
Even in their own books, Nathan, as I've shown citation after citation, they need 90 degrees. Can't have 90 degrees on a curved surface. A right angle kills them, and they need a right angle to navigate. We even showed that the astronomers and the navigators say they need that right angle, that box.
The notion of being on a sphere is fundamentally flawed, And all of the distortions and the map trickery and the dozens and dozens and dozens of different predictions, they're only there to cover this. That's all they're for. The complexities that are derived by anti-flat earthers after the fact will not alter this argument. To measure an angle, you're going to need a flat plane. You're going to have to establish a horizontal baseline. That is how you measure and navigate the Earth. Earth is flat. Deal with it. If you've got to beg the question after the fact, know the black swan argument, because we've already taken R away. So this is it. Like I keep saying, I've said it a third time's a charm. This is the end of the argument. We took away their assumption of R, which they thought was justified in every instance. With the black swan, 1st Jan 2020. Further to that, I was going to say year of the sextant, age of the sextant, shows that how you navigate the actual flat plane, regardless of the distortions of the maps themselves, still requires a horizontal baseline to measure any angle to move around on the surface.
Neil, give us a sound check.
Hello?
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
I want to ruin the show. I got bad reception. Can you hear me right at this moment?
Yes.
Okay. I just Googled out of curiosity, sextant can't work on a globe. And they requested a video by Sleeping Warrior. It amazed me.
Yeah, this is why I made a specific note of it when people come along and say, yeah, I found your video by recommendation of YouTube. Or, you're a different case because the algorithm already knows who you are and what you're looking for, Neil. So being recommended a Sleeping Warrior by way of a search is a bit of progress, because up until now, even for me, I can search Flat Earth and get nothing but anti-Flat Earth material. So if you're searching it and finding Sleeping Warrior, that is still progress. The kibosh is being slightly lifted. Now, as with any psychopathic control system, that's what they do. Lift the kibosh a little bit and then push it back down again firmly. So don't want to get too excited.
That's what I was thinking. Why did they allow that?
Well, why does the cat play with the mouse?
I bet you didn't think that question would induce such a stony silence, 10th.
I was just going to say, what's wrong with cats playing with mice?
Oh, I thought I was off again.
No, you're coming in good, Neil. Finally.
What's troubling me is I could be somewhere else in this building and I hear the show perfectly, but when I go to talk, I'm roboting.
I suggest we chew out at least 12 minutes talking about your roboting, Neil. It'll be an excellent conversation to get people warmed up for the live show.
Yeah. I did have something else. I posted it in Master B. If you want to take a look at that and see how they think they're using a sextant.
Well, wherever you are now, Neil, you're not roboting.
Yeah, but I can't stay here because I'm not working. I'm just
Okay,
walking
get to
in the
work.
hallway.
Okay, we
And
are
I have
actually
to
going to
shut
chew out the
down
last
the
12
show.
minutes talking about this then. Okay.
No, go to my thing in Master B. I posted something. Hit it on and somebody read it.
Okay. You're not the usual type to be presenting stuff from Master B, but let's have a little look at what Neil's stuck in there. Man relies on sextant. Let's have a look. Oh, what's it doing, stupid Cora? Oh, it doesn't like me wanting to present it. Let's just try it a different way, Neil. You're gonna talk us through this, I hope. Pound says Neil now leans on me to present something I've never seen before.
Yeah, because I don't want to ruin the show. I'm going to be cutting in and out on you.
Just tell me what's. I've
It's
got it up
pretty
on.
interesting.
It's now your presentation. I've got it up on screen, Neil. I give up. Right, going back to the hangout. I give up on your presentation. It's not coming. It's...
Ex-tech man to pull it in. He's got good.
No,
reception.
it's yours. That's not how it works. You don't just give it to someone else and say, present this for me.
I can't get it though. That's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
okay.
hitting it and nothing's coming up.
That's okay.
I'll do it tomorrow.
When I listen to the show back, right, often I'm making tea or whatever and I want to review the show. And I've got it playing in the background, my wife's cooking or whatever, stuff going on. The bits with you, both me and my wife chuckle every time. Normally someone moaning about you in the chat. Whereas I'm like, no. Neil's ace. If you're not laughing along, you're not getting it.
Like yesterday, James Holland. Oh, he hates me. I had a good time with him yesterday in chat.
Yeah, you're frequently in the chat. You're one of my moderators, aren't you? So, but yeah, I'm sure people give you stick in the chat.
I have some fans too, telling them, "What are you kidding me? We get my cousin Vinny every day."
You add the everyman element to the show, Neil.
Correct. That's what I said.
I mean, it'd be slightly better if you were from Queens, but, you can't have everything. No, not going to trigger a New Yorker. Clearly not.
All I got out of that was you're from Queens.
I said it'd be better if you were from Queens.
He's on the move again.
It's not going to work. I'm not going to trigger him.
No.
You can't trigger me. I know what I am. Yeah, I don't claim to be anything else.
You come triggered.
New Yorkers are in a permanent state of being triggered.
It's a New York state of mind.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
I remember being in New York and taxi driver was mean as heck just with his, words. And people say, why are people so mean? I go, no, he's just New Yorkers. This is how it is here. They're not mad. That's how they are.
But they do assume that they're being conned all the time.
They're constantly watching out for being swindled, so they're always on the defensive.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying that in this regard, New York is a good example of an everyman, because you would hope that your average New Yorker is a bit more generally sceptical, asking questions. What are you talking about?
See, I could either go one or two ways. I could either pretend to be something I'm not and then go looking around to try to bring something, which that's not me. Or I could just be who I am, and that's it.
Okay, that's
we get the same result
lovely.
or what?
Yeah, and that's lovely. You be you, Neil. Thank you for that.
You be you.
Well, I'm answering. No. I'm answering the guy in chat because he was asking me, "What do you bring? You bring nothing." So I mean, I could be a phony and
Wait a minute,
go read a book and come in with something, or I could just be me. And
You mean
I
the
said,
guy?
Nathan don't like me. What?
I said that you mean the guy in chat who brings nothing is accusing you of bringing nothing.
On the main
I gotta
panel.
be careful because I don't.
You're on the main panel.
Yeah,
What's he talking about? You know what I mean? It's like
Well,
you're not in the peanut gallery. You're on the main panel. What's he on about?
yeah, but I got to be careful because I don't know who. Because one
Don't
time
be
he
a
told me,
racist.
"Hey, this guy." that this guy is one of your supporters, so I don't know who he is, so I gotta be careful with him, you know?
All right, stepping away to ask my wife what she wants for Christmas didn't work out well.
Well, I said, what the heck? Everyone went silent.
Keep putting off a shopping trip. I want to go shopping
It's
with my
good. You
wife.
keep referring to us as peanut gallery, and then
Oh yeah, that's where I stepped out.
you-
I thought that would trigger you. Did it work? Obviously, not enough
yes, you
anyway.
triggered everybody, and they all went silent. Everybody
No,
said,
they all went
"Screw that."
nuts. They all went nuts.
Yeah, that was quite intentional because I thought you'd filled at least 2 minutes with hey, how dare you demean us to the peanut gallery just because we're in Discord? We are equally important to the regular main panel.
We're more important.
That's what I was waiting for. That's the spirit.
You know, we're here all day.
You know it's not
I
my
know
server,
why.
right? You know that it's not my server. Did you know that?
I didn't hear. What'd you say?
It's not my server. You're like, I'm here all day. Like, I'm in your shop, I'm in your cafe all day, but drinking tea and spending money. But it's not my server. I get kindly allowed to use a section that's been set up but for me to use for the show. But beyond that, I've got absolutely no interest in Discord. So you were saying I'm here all day. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So anytime you want to stop by, we might be here.
I do. I'm here now.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
here. What do you want? I am stopping by. No, a regular time. I couldn't be more regular. I'm always here, daily. Except for weekends or when anything comes up that might keep my wife happy.
Now think about it. You don't even have time to go shopping yet for Christmas.
Exactly.
They want you to stop by.
Yeah.
No, but you're not in the real show. You're not in the real fight, Nathan. Come on.
Real fight. OG Flat Earther set up this show. It's grown from me being pummeled on a daily basis to us annihilating the opposition to the point where they're scared of us and have to appeal to format every time we talk about the fact they're not here. Oh, well, he's scary. He'll do things that stop us making an argument that wins.
Yeah, in chat, the anti-flat earthers and ballers, whether it's Mitchell's show or someone else's, I challenge you, 10th man. So you know where to find me 5 days a week. Well, you need to come on a different fine, 5,000 an hour. Well, no. Okay, come for free. I'm on Nathan's every day. No.
Like my example the other day about going up to a girlfriend when you're in school. I say a girlfriend, a girl that you fancy, and saying, hey, you know what you're going to do? You're going to come with me to where I want to be at the time I want to be there on my terms because I fancy you. And the girl turns around, I'm going to swear, and says, fuck off. And you go, what? What's wrong with me wanting you and wanting you on my terms? I said then, you know, if you're appealing to a whore, she'll just ask you for money. And in that respect, I am that whore.
They got no argument. That's the problem.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by, most importantly of all, Neil from New York, and less importantly, Arwin, 10th Man, and the Adam Meakin, along with a whole bunch of whoever in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
What? Morning.
Hey, good morning from Discord.
Can I get upgraded?
Hi, James.
Can I get upgraded if I'm from Queens?
Oh, absolutely. If you're from Queens, then you definitely outrank Neil. Any evidence you can have a curved adjacent when acquiring an elevation angle?
Is that an optical angle or a geometric one?
Optical angle. You mean acquiring sight of a star with a tool to measure something geometrically?
Right, optical geometry or just mathematical geometry?
Geometry is going to be mathematical. What you're utilizing in terms of your position on the plane we dwell atop is going to be optical. It doesn't really address the housekeeping question. New and important. Trust Darwin to spoil it. Any evidence you can have a curved adjacent whilst acquiring an elevation angle?
No, the tool doesn't work that way. Cannot work
An
that way.
adjacent, by its very definition, is a line. And lines are straight, not curved.
Right. Well, it just needs to be locally flat, and it works great.
Except when
Yes.
the computer says no.
The computer doesn't say no. The computer shows that we have to navigate a flat plane. That's how it works. And the angles that you're measuring won't be measured on a spherical surface at any point. So anybody claiming navigation utilizing this tool, sextant, or angle measurement of any description, will start with a flat plane prior to any crazy fundamentalist religious beliefs about spheres and such like. Any
I was
evidence?
referencing.
Go on.
I was referencing Rob Durham's CAD.
It's nice to see him making the rounds. He was on Mitch's show yesterday.
Yes, and when he enters in, it says that's not a straight line, or he'll say computer says no, as Adam puts it.
Yeah, Indeed, you can't acquire your elevation angle if you've got a curved adjacent. It doesn't work like that. It needs a flat plane. So recently QE pointed out an old argument, i.e. the Blackpool swan, annihilated almost immediately, also utilised a flat plane to make the argument with the angles of the items in the picture. Well, that needed a flat plane. They had to beg the question of a flat plane before they did anything to make those claims. And this is no different. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the Earth's curvature?
It will always exist in the math. That is, if you use spherical geometry. But other than that, nope. We wouldn't expect to see the geometric horizon.
Gets labelled with an X horizon in there, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations, Arwin. So they very much expect to see Earth curve. They tell us it's the horizon. It's just when we debunk it with the black swan, they tell us that we wouldn't expect to see it, and no one claims it to be Earth curve. That would be the horizon. They do, it's just it's been debunked, so that means anti-flat earthers have to reposition their claim. That nobody claims the horizon's Earth curve. Yeah, they do. It's marked with an X, labelled horizon, and you're begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations that you use to claim, for example, but not limited to, Earth curve horizon blocking the Isle of Man. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? So far we've annihilated the notion that Earth has any sphericity to it. Earth is flat. Earth is definitely not a sphere. Any evidence we spin?
No Earth-based Coriolis detected whatsoever.
There's no Coriolis deviation. We can only conclude that the atmosphere moves in lockstep with Earth's rotation.
What Earth's rotation? Where are you getting this begging the question assumption that Earth has rotation and that the air behaves in violation of the first law of thermodynamics, increasing velocity with respect to the ground beneath that it's not attached to? What a load of anti-flat Earth nonsense.
Sorry.
I said it the other day and you corrected me on the title, but again, if I'll try and cite it correctly this time, Erie's failure is a great demonstration that gives you a logical conclusion as to what is moving, whether it's the Earth that is rotating underneath or whether it's the stars rotating above a stationary flat plane. A good observation, but you can draw a logical inference from it. Which obviously opposes any evidence of a rotating.
When you watch the Olympics or track and field championships, they say we can't count today's record-setting 100-meter dash because the runners were wind aided. So what happens on the days when they're not wind aided?
What's the point of your question exactly?
Well, the lockstep and gas, which moves in all directions.
Oh, I see. You've bitten on Arwin's anti-flat Earth doesn't conform to the claim that Earth turns beneath us, anything not attached, rather, to give us a 15 degrees an hour deviation as we observe things turning beneath. You're telling me that you're going to address Arwin's anti-flat Earth rhetoric, that no drift to sea, no globe claim being proven with 15 degrees an hour deviation. That's not happening. Right, okay, so that debunks Coriolis claims on a globe Earth then. Okay, but also, still spinning, because I assume we're spinning, and I assume no effect's going to be observed when I assume we're spinning. You're going to bite on that bit. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not biting at it. I'm having a laugh at it.
If a field goal, right, can have that effect, I'm just thinking in Olympic senses, right? If it was true, that calculation, then the alignment of any long jump track would be very important, wouldn't it? To
critical, as would far more important would be the paths of runways.
Shot put, javelin, that'd be ruined.
But even just like sprinters would have weird issues, right? Because like in a stadium, they always go in the circles. Well, that means that in certain directions, Like they would be going slightly faster and slightly less fast on the opposite direction.
Nah, that would only
Because of the
affect the hang
Coriolis
gliding
deviation.
championships.
Right? They
You mean
would
like-
have to catch up in a certain direction with the spin of the Earth. So they have to put in more effort for the same speed, while going in the other direction, Earth will kind of slide underneath them. So we'll more easily go a little faster.
So you mean like the jet stream at 30, 40,000 feet west to east, and then the other way they're fighting it? Is that what you mean?
No,
No,
let's just...
those-
no, stop.
those
Everyone
just
stop,
move in
right? I'm sick of
lockstep.
this nonsense. The globe claims that we will observe from the ground things drifting as we turn beneath. Exampled by Neil deGrasse Tyson's claim that a field goal was scored because of Earth's rotation beneath. That deflection would be Earth rotating beneath the ball. Now, the idea of Coriolis effect is that the item you're watching from a rotating platform takes a straight path, but because you're rotating beneath it, it looks like it curves. That would be the curve described by Neil deGrasse Tyson and the claim the globe makes. The globe claims we will see 15 degrees an hour drift because Earth is claimed to turn beneath things that aren't attached like footballs. However, if Earth turns beneath footballs, then it also turns beneath drones, blimps, helicopters, aeroplanes, hot air balloons, you if you jump up and down. And you would also drift at 15 degrees an hour from the vantage point of anyone still attached to the ground. So if that drift direction happens to be towards the person, you jump and come hurtling towards them from their vantage point. Now, what's actually happening if the claim were true is the person on the ground watches you jump. But because you leave a turning reference frame, as is claimed to be the case on a globe Earth that spins, you start moving towards them when all they're actually doing is moving up and down, and you're moving towards them. So when you collide with the person, it's because you rotated towards them on a turning Earth. Now that does not happen. Likewise, you'd never be able to hover, because Earth is claimed to be turning underneath the drone. So you launch the drone, and Earth is claimed to turn beneath it at 15 degrees an hour. Two things should happen. You should watch the drone drift away at whatever the mile per hour turn rate is. So the rate of 15 degrees an hour translates to a rim velocity at whatever point on the sphere you're at. Well, that's the rate that the drone would drift away from you. Oh no, my drone is drifting away at about 600 miles an hour. Well, no, says the person next to you. Actually, we're turning away from it on an Earth that spins. That's called Coriolis effect. All you've done is push the up stick. It's just flown up. But from our position, it looks like it flew away 600 miles an hour. That doesn't happen, but must happen if Earth turns, because that's what they claim happens. It's called Coriolis effect. You seeing things drift at 15 degrees an hour because you're turning beneath them. You can translate the example onto a simple roundabout. You on a roundabout with a person throwing a ball over the top of you, or two people throwing it back and forth. As you look up at the ball, it looks like it's curving. It's not, it's taking a straight path. Now, if you happen to stand up in the path, the straight path that the ball's taking between two people throwing it over the top of a roundabout, then you will intercept the ball and hit it. And from your vantage point, it looks like the ball curved towards you, when in reality, you moved towards it. Now, that effect is not observed by us ever, and we get crap examples from people like Tyson saying that the ball drifted through the goal because Earth turned beneath. It was caused by Earth's rotation that goal was scored. Now, that's inferring that the ball travelled in a straight path, but seemed to curve through the posts because the Earth turned beneath it. So from the stands, you watched the ball curve. It didn't really curve, Earth was turning beneath it, is the claim. But that would affect flight times. They'd be shortened. So North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take about an hour and a half if Earth was turning beneath the plane. And, to go back to Adam's point, in terms of the Olympics with jumpers, that would be exacerbated massively, to the point where you'd have to worry about what line you were taking in on the ground that's moving beneath you when you come into land. No such concerns are ever taken into account because the Earth is not turning beneath aeroplanes. Now, the effect they're claiming has nothing to do with the aeroplane itself, and everything to do with you on the ground watching the aeroplane seem to curve. That's Coriolis. It can only be described by you on a surface that's turning. So the assumption for Earth is that you're on a surface that's turning, watching things in the air curve, like aeroplanes. Now, the net consequence is that Earth's turning under aeroplanes, and that would mess them up to a massive degree that would definitely be noticeable, and isn't, for us to see that seemingly curved path that aeroplanes don't take, because Earth's definitely not turning beneath them. We're not experiencing Coriolis defection, and the following nonsense that comes from people like Arwin to represent the anti-flat earthers in this argument is to say, oh, okay, yeah, no, the flight time isn't shortened from Charlotte to LA, but that's because Earth and atmosphere move together, and we don't see the drift the globe claims. There's no reason to expect to see 15 degrees an hour of globe-claimed drift. Why would we expect to see 15 degrees an hour of globe-claimed drift? What are you, silly? Is the reply we get from the anti-flat earthers. So they concede that there's no drift to see then. That's the end of the argument. But they'll argue all day about how we wouldn't expect to see the globe's claim of 15 degrees an hour drift. And so it goes on.
Me and my reference frames have been ruined.
It's the reference to Simon Dan, right on cue by Arwin. So, exampled by Simon Dan showing me a man jumping up and down on a trampoline being tugged by a tractor and not drifting. In other words, not bouncing out the back of the tractor as the tractor moved beneath him. Now, the fact that they've got boards set up to stop the wind doing that, keeping him in the same reference frame, is irrelevant, because he's showing me something not drifting at 15 degrees an hour, which is the globe claim he needs to prove. And he's telling me your reference frames, Simon Dan, telling me, Nathan Oakley, that my, Nathan Oakley's, reference frames I don't have are ruined. I don't have any. I'm not claiming any reference frames, but we don't have the drift the globe claims, and when we point that out, they show us that we wouldn't expect to see drift. Here's a man not drifting at 15 degrees an hour. Here's a man not exhibiting Coriolis effect. It's like, okay, we seem to have lost track of what the globe's actually claiming that you should be proving. That's drift at 15 degrees an hour, not telling me how we wouldn't expect to see it, and giving some convoluted explanation that violates natural laws. Increased velocity of particles of gas that are not attached, moving with elastic collisions, and increasing the velocity with respect to the ground that they're not attached to. Yeah, first law of thermodynamics violation. Total nonsense, and isn't proving we spin because the proof of spin comes from drift. That they don't have and are justifying why we don't have it. That's anti-flat earthers. Hopefully a succinct enough summary for me to move on to any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth.
I think that was succinct enough for a cutout, Nathan, actually. Very good.
I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
Coriolis.
molten iron core, you
I
never
hate
really
Coriolis.
have much to talk about, do you?
I hate the fact that it's such a simple argument. It was one of the first arguments I came across, and it was really succinctly summarised by what's his name, the South African guy. He goes by
That side?
My perspective.
Rory Cooper of My Perspective.
He's
Thank
French.
you. Rory Cooper summed this up, and it was very quickly taken. The footage that he produced, animated himself, was then taken by Eric Debay and popularised with better narration. I'm not going to knock Rory Cooper's narration, but Eric Debay's was better, and put together with a load of other material in a concise sort of documentary style format. But the original point was made by Rory Cooper, and he just showed hot air balloons, planes, anything that's not attached to a spinning Earth, and the effect that would be induced as a result. And it was really simple. But then I got poisoned by every single anti-flat Earth rhetoric out there that we wouldn't expect to see that effect. And because I didn't at the time have a good understanding of what Coriolis actually was, because when you start looking it up, you get nonsensical doublespeak descriptions of it, you get lost in the argument. To my frustration. Now, in the past, I've described Carl Jobst describing another speedrunner whose name I don't know, doing Doom speedruns. And it's actually Doom 2, but it's basically the same game. There's a particular level where you've got to navigate these 3 or 4 pixel wide walls, and they're basically like tight ropes. That's basically what it is, and you've got to have the skill to negotiate them. And you fall off, you've got to start again. It's a pain in the arse. Now, if you're trying to go fast, that's a big problem, because to go fast on that level, you've got to go slow on the tightrope. So it's a fine balancing act that's annoying. And it was the same with Coriolis, making the point that we've got proof we don't spin because we debunked Coriolis, and then getting around the fact that people were telling us we don't need to be proving we spin, we wouldn't expect to. I can just beg the question, and so on. That's the tightrope that is Coriolis. Now, after a time, I can now leg it across these tightropes, metaphorically the same as this doomed speedrunner, faster than most people can. But all that took was a good understanding of what Coriolis is, because the argument always steps into what the projectile's doing. The anti-flat earther always says, well, the plane, you wouldn't expect the plane to drift because it's got engines, and it can compensate for the fact that it's got Earth turning beneath it. That's what they do. Or something like that. Immediately talk about the plane. It's like the effect described, Coriolis, is only observable from a roundabout or a turning platform. It must be you observing it to describe it. So there's no Coriolis detection meters in planes. It's farcical. It's only observable from the ground. So their globe claim can only be claimed from an observation point that's turning, with you on it turning, watching things that aren't attached to your reference frame drifting. That's how it works. Once you understand that, the moment someone starts talking about what the ball does, in my example earlier, throwing a ball over a spinning roundabout and you intercepting it when you stand up, well, someone can take that and say, yeah, but the ball, you wouldn't expect it to drift. It's moving in a straight line. Suddenly you're confused. Yeah, but we are seeing it drift because we're turning on a roundabout. Says nobody on the flat earth side, because half of them don't understand the argument. The ball has got sod all to do with it. The drift only comes as a not actual effect of you turning beneath it, and therefore describing the path of the ball is inconsequential to Coriolis drift. The effect you observe that doesn't actually happen, it's induced by you turning. Now, that seems complicated, and it is. But that's why they've piled on 6 layers deep of complete horse crap, so that people get lost in the argument and won't realise that an anti-flat earther is telling them that we wouldn't expect to see the very thing that the globe is claiming to prove we spin. That's Coriolis deflection. Molten Iron Core, anybody at all?
Honestly, sports and travel would be completely different on a spinning world. It would be insane. I don't even think that sports, you wouldn't be able to throw a ball as accurately as some of these professionals do because of the curve or the turn of the earth.
Travel would be cheap as chips. You'd go up in a hot air balloon and wait for the next continent along to come to you.
Right, it would be the terrestrial railroad of the winds. Just go up and then wait a while and you'll get somewhere. Won't have to do anything except go down again.
Yeah. The effect is, drone takes off and you go, oh, look at that. It looks like it's flying away from me at 800 miles an hour. And your mate goes, nah, drones can't fly at 800 miles an hour. We're turning away from it. The ground underneath the drone's moving underneath it while it hovers. Well, you scale it up to a hot air balloon, and the ground's moving underneath the hot air balloon as it hovers, bringing different lands towards it as it just hovers. Well, that'd be useful, wouldn't it? Doesn't happen, though. But that's what needs to happen to prove their claim that we spin, because Coriolis needs you spinning underneath stuff that isn't attached. Farcical. Doesn't happen, so our opponents tell us why we wouldn't expect to see that. Drift, the globe claims. Going third time's charm. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No, there's no hint of it, and to be fair, I wonder if anybody even knows why they started making that claim in the first place. Like, why? Just because there's volcanoes somewhere? Right, do you need magnetics? Well, molten iron doesn't do that. So it's like really elusive how that claim came into being in the first place.
But you made it up.
Yeah, but who made it up and why? Because there doesn't even seem to be a direct reason to make it up.
I'm sure someone got paid quite handsomely to make that story up, I'll have you know.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, maybe, but like, why? Why does it need to be a molten iron core? There's no need for it. Like, not in the ball model. That it doesn't make any sense, even in the
Create your
low
magnetic
cosmology.
field.
Go on, Adam.
That's why in their model they put it there, even though it's, like we say, contradictory with regards to the theory point, but it's there to generate the magnetic field that we do observe and use with the compass. That's the raison d'etre for it, isn't it? That's why it's there in the center. And that's why they have to stick it in the center as opposed to at the North Pole.
Okay, so what you're saying is that people generally, their need to know why things work and the requirement for magnetic field lines and their use means or necessitates an explanation of some description being out there. So the why is because people don't like not knowing things, and using magnetic field lines for navigation, for example, people would say, well, where do they come from? So you need a story behind that. So people go, oh, it's all right, I'm clever, I know what that is because I can repeat and parrot back something someone told me that was made up on the spot.
Yeah, just like, but it has to fit into a ball. So the only way to make the magnetic field work like that is to stick it in the center of the ball, and it's even across the plane. We make a story up and say it's Mount Meru at the center. We don't know, do we? But I think the ball model, it's much more important that you don't admit that and make a just so story up.
Yeah, but
why did it have to be molten? Why did it have to be molten? Why not just like a bit of molten and then most of it solid? Because solid iron, I don't know, dynamos, like a solid spinning core. I could imagine that somehow theoretically, conceptually could generate some magnetism, right? Just like dynamos. But if it's all liquid, then none of those reasons make any sense for it. It's so ridiculous.
Because they claim that the core is 9,392 degrees Fahrenheit, and iron loses its ferromagnetic at 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's physically impossible for it to even be magnetic still.
Yeah, that's why part of the question, part of the housekeeping question is any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core?
Yeah, the claim itself is bunk. It destroys itself without even explaining anything.
But it's needed. It's not a MacGuffin. It is actually needed. People want to know the answer to the question. Therefore, a question answer has been provided. Simple as that. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I'd like to step back to the molten iron core.
Step back into the molten iron core?
New research has discovered that it's hotter than we thought, around 1,800 degrees. It is a staggering 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's impossible to be magnetic by like 5 times over.
And how is this contextualized? Do I need to be scared of this? Is there some imminent danger in terms of maybe pole reversal?
No, it's just incredible that people don't understand that it can't possibly be magnetic.
Yeah, even based off of what they're saying, even though they've never actually been to the center to take a temperature reading, even by what they're saying, really, it's false. It's all just BS.
Didn't I learn back in school that the core of the Earth was hotter than the surface of the sun?
It sounds like
I
something
did,
they'd
because
make
I
up.
remember
Yeah.
thinking,
I mean, yeah, it might be the case.
How can that possibly be?
Well, because they also have the sun described as a second law of thermodynamics violation. It gets hotter as you get further away from it. Moving on. No ends the distance to it. No? Anybody at all? Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
In all likelihood, you're going to need half of that.
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Come on, Discord, take that one.
Nope, not at all.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
Still waiting.
Oh, Black Swan. Black Swan demolished it.
Indeed, we had an extensive discussion about this in the pre-show. In terms of the most recent argument that's coming out and hopefully gaining a bit of traction in regards to the sextant, any party who's making the claim in this regard requires a flat plane before they do anything. So there's no a way around this after you've acquired from a flat plane an angle. Moving to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth based on an R value that's been debunked by the Black Swan isn't possible. So this is a I don't know what you call it when something's all nicely sealed up and tightly dealt with and gift wrapped ready for Christmas. But that's what this is. It's done and dusted. You can't make this claim, measuring angles, to do anything on a sphere. It can't be done. You have to start by, as conspiracy cats put it, letting us have the flat Earth first. Well, okay. Let's see you do it without having a flat Earth first. You can't. You can't do it with a curved adjacent. So, if they manage to squeeze their way around the fact that they've managed to acquire an angle from a surface that's curved, which they can't do, if they manage to slip that by any flat earthers out there, just know this. We've debunked the R value that they'll immediately start talking about when they talk about 1 degree from the centre of Earth moving Earth as a circle. Not measured at the surface with a flat line on a flat plane, which is what they've actually done if they've managed to get that far. But if they do get that far, Black Swan. It's done, dusted, gift wrapped for Christmas.
It's a shame FE Pilot didn't want to stick around because he's afraid of the angry man. He don't want to talk to the angry man. I don't know who that would be, but
I don't know who that would be.
Because he claims a horizon is a physical Earth edge. I'm reading his very words right now.
Okay, Black Swan.
Refraction. Yeah.
No.
And he also claims that his
let's just do this. Hold on. Slow down. Let's do this. You say Earth geometric sphere edge. Okay, that'd be your horizon in the globe model. Yeah, we're well aware of what their claim is. Black Swan. If the Earth is a sphere radius 3959 as being claimed, with a geometric horizon, then every distance to said geometric horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, a la their claim of Earth curve. The distance to horizon in Black Swan imagery is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959, therefore the Earth is not a sphere, and the horizon is not Earth curve. That is the Black Swan. If he says refraction, his refraction is based on R. He can no longer acquire R, you haven't got a geometric horizon to acquire it with. Refraction, oh right, where are you getting R from then? If the horizon is refracted, you aren't. Paradoxically claiming that R is still capable of deriving the geometry that's now refracted is nonsense. It's the end of the argument, because refracting geometry won't give you an R value to refract the horizon with. 7/6R in standard form, terrestrial refraction or any variant thereof will involve R. And they can't get it without a geometric horizon that they've just refracted.
He also states that his video on that day, there was no refraction.
That's fascinating. Meanwhile, according to our anti-flat Earth compadres, they tell us that refraction is a constant thing. It's got a standardized form. Standard refraction is the claim of Earth, light, bend, always. Standard. We're furthermore told that we would never be expecting to see the geometric horizon unless we sucked out all of the sphere-shaped air that stands in violation of the second law of thermodynamics, not dispersing into a sky vacuum that isn't real. So based on the fact that we've got sphere-shaped air atmosphere not dispersing into a sky vacuum, light bends at the rate of r. That's their claim, always, unless you get rid of... Unless suddenly the second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum actually did its job in terms of being an area available for the gas to fill, and in line with natural law it would want to fill it, leaving us all dead with no air. But obviously that doesn't happen because they assume that it arbitrarily takes a sphere shape. And because it arbitrarily takes a sphere shape, light's going to bend through it at a rate of r. Doesn't happen, doesn't give them a straight line, certainly doesn't give them geometry to measure to get r.
I don't even think this guy knows about 7/6. I don't think he even. It would be really good if he wasn't such a coward to come on here.
Well, just, yeah,
They'll
standard
wait
refraction.
until you're done.
If he doesn't know about the globe claiming constant, consistent, standardized refraction at a rate of r...
Well, he can't. Yeah, he can't because he literally claimed no refraction on that day he took the film.
Or was it no atmo day, just to use the words
No atmo.
Yeah, that's... He needs to understand that what we were told by anti-flat earthers when we pointed out, refraction, so no geometry then, and they told us we wouldn't expect to see atmosphere. What is it? No atmo day. So is his no atmo day photo what he's claiming?
Yeah, a whole film, not just a photo.
A whole day of footage with no atmo, hey? All right, no atmo day. Yeah, you don't like your own words thrown back at you, do you, globe believers? This is an anti-flat Earth rebuttal to the Black Swan. We point out you don't have geometry to measure, and they tell us we wouldn't expect to unless it was no atmo day. Oh, yeah? Well, is it no atmo day?
Do you guys want to have a laugh? Kum was over here in main chat. Well, he just erased it now. He said that, do they know that we don't even use the horizon to find the radius value?
Yeah, I don't think he erased it. I think Huey's sitting up there.
Okay.
Huey sees stupid crap like that, he gets rid of it.
Yeah, we asked for R daily.
Yeah, no ammo.
If he's willing to come on and tell us how he gets R, given
Really
that he's
does.
claiming no atmo day and he's got geometry and physical horizons to be measuring, yeah, I'm pretty sure his claim that he can get R from someone else will fail on its arse because they don't have another claim.
He's avoiding coming on now because I said that to Virus, who believes Earth is rotating, there are no consequences for that. And he said I lied. So back and forth, I said, well, come on the live show and show me where I lied. I'll apologize to you live. He won't come on. He says, I'll see you in the after show. So now he's got the courage to say that Al-Biruni didn't use the horizon.
Hey, everybody.
Well,
hey,
hi,
Brian.
I've got Wally in chat as well. He's claiming he's measured. Yeah, question mark. Yeah, measured it. So I've asked him if he wants to come into Discord and.
Adam, ask me if I've measured time dilation in the Narnia wardrobe. Just ask me if I've measured that.
Ooh. Nath, have you measured time dilation in the Narnia wardrobe?
Yep, got that. Measured that.
Thought I'd take your word for it then.
Yep, done and dusted.
Wally's not a bad guy, but I saw what Wally did, and part of his calculation is the adding of 7/6R. But you need to have R for that. So
I see.
He did a calculation, based on two measurements.
Just one sec, bro. So he's got an R in his calculation. So when we say, yeah, we've debunked that crap with the Black Swan, he says, no, I've got R. Yeah, you've got R in your maths, but where did you measure it? Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, he did. I sent this to Adam. He did an angle. See, this is the other problem. Him and Wolfie did two angles in two different parts of Australia to the same star or constellation. and he worked it out that due to their angles that the Earth has to be curved. But the curve that he worked out was just basically two different there was an elevation difference as well, which he added in. But the curve he worked out, he had to use 7/6R. So he had to have R. You have to have R to have 7/6R. Do you understand what I mean?
He used GPS. Geostationary satellites. In actual fact, he didn't use luminaries. The two.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
They did all this lovely maths based on the assumption that these were off into infinity, like their maths places the stars. And I think he boast he got within 2% of the R value. So when we pointed out that actually you could do proper trigonometry and should be doing proper trigonometry from the ground, it destroyed his R value massively. So his assumptions were.
He got sorry to interrupt. He got within 2% of what now?
Of this magical number that nobody's ever proved or demonstrated.
He got within 2% of a number that can't be measured?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's very useful.
Yeah, so I forgot that part actually. It was geocentric satellites, and he had to place them a certain distance away in space. So he had to pre-assume several things to get to what he got there. But he also, if I remember correctly, he can correct me now if I'm wrong. If I remember correctly, he had to use 7/6R.
His mathematical errors were that he assumed all of the angles that you're measuring were attributable to Earth curvature. So the rotation away or towards it is the only causation in his maths for the angle change. Which
I see. So the angles that were moving through a central point based on an R value rather than angles measured at the surface.
Yes.
Oh dear. So he just sidestepped the fact that to have these angles measured, you'd need to measure them, and just automatically went to, no, I'm moving through a presupposed spherical Earth that's turning at this rate. And that's where you get your 1 degree from. It's 1 degree of a 3959 sphere I'm moving. Oh, right. Where did you measure the angles? Because a flat plane's going to be required for that, isn't it? Yeah. Begging the question after the fact just means I have to ask you where you measured the angles. And you're going to need a flat plane for that.
But so obviously, when he did that, like I said, he's placed everything at the stars. So all of his angle change is attributed to Earth curve and rotation away from that. But because it was a geostationary satellite, then its position in the sky also relates to distance. It's like an aeroplane. So when that was pointed out and you made the adjustments for it, it just absolutely destroyed his R value. He was no longer within 30%, I don't think. So.
Oh dear. 30% of 30% of what again?
This number that he's made up that he thinks if he gets it to 100%, it proves we live on a ball.
Yeah, to be within 5% or 30% of something, you need to show that original number that you're getting to within 5% with all your assumptions intact. You need to show R first to get within 5% of it.
I think they know that that's never going to happen, so the best they can ever do is calculate things that come close to something they've never measured.
Measured? Oh, right, so they were measuring angles, were they?
I meant in the R. They've never measured R. So all they can ever do is try and calculate things into existence that correspond to this number that they've never actually measured.
Sure, but you said that they were measuring angles to geostationary satellites. Was I incorrect in my hearing of that?
Sorry, yeah, they were measuring an angle from the...
They were measuring an angle, were they? Yeah. To the geostationary satellite they assumed was in orbit with a begging the question. They measured an angle. How did they do that, pray tell, Asm?
You measure angles with straight lines, don't you?
So they assumed a flat plane when they started this process of telling us about what geostationary satellites were doing. They took angle measurements from the flat plane then?
Yeah, advice from Uncle Bubby.
Who was this again? I didn't really listen to who it was. It's kind of inconsequential. These people are nobodies. But who was it we were talking about, just so I can rub it right in their face?
Was it Rufy and Wally, Brian?
Rufy and Wally? No, how appropriate.
It was Wolfie, and Where's Wally?
Wolfie and Wally. Oh, how sweet. So you started this little process off on a flat plane, lads? Yeah? Yeah, you're going to need a flat plane for that angle that you started this whole thing off. And then just talked about how it worked from the centre of an R-value-based sphere that you assumed. Oh, no. It started with you measuring angles, didn't it, lads? How do those balls taste? That's my nuts slapping around your face, lads. Enjoy the aftertaste.
Wally was going to come on here some time back, and I said to him, look, because he sent the video to me, and I said to him, look, if you go on there, I just pointed out, like, the angles for a start, taking an angle, that's going to be pointed out. Secondly, it's going to be pointed out that the geocentric satellites can't be existing like he's expecting they do. And third, you can't have the adding of 7 over 6R, because you need to have the R originally. And, there was several things. I said, if you're going to go join Nathan's, you're going to run into all those problems. Like, Wally's not a bad guy, but he does have I wouldn't even call him an anti-flat earther so much. I would call him a baller more than an anti-flat earther. But he has this strong belief, and in fairness, it was the best attempt at an R value measurement since the black swan. Let's just say, but
sorry, let me get it straight, Brian. You think this is
I don't know.
Who was there first, me or Adam?
Wow. Oh, I made a strange rumbling noise first.
Yeah, well, what's wrong? I mean, who else did it? Like,
I'll just repeat mine, Adam, and then you can go. Yeah. They started the process by measuring an angle on a flat plane, Brian.
Yeah, I know that. But look,
So what's wrong with it? Best proof of R so far started the process by measuring angles on flat planes. Okie dokie.
But they live on a flat plane. What can they do? I mean, if they're going to do it, it has to start with the reality we live in, which is a flat world.
Let me have my
go
objection.
On, Adam, go on.
My objection is they're not measuring anything to do with R. They're taking an angle to a luminary. We're supposed to be measuring the ground, not taking angles to things in the sky that we can't prove, how that relationship to them exists. We're asking for proof of R, measuring R, not measuring luminaries.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen because geodesy has already shown that doesn't exist.
Okay, so
look, they're in a position where they're trying to prove something that is not possible to prove, and he did a good job at trying to prove it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I respectfully disagree, as does Adam, and I'll summarise our reasons why, which is to say that you're not going to prove a measurement of an radius value at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth by looking at luminaries and measuring them on a flat plane.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I pointed out, that he was using angles. But look, what can I say? He's one of the more in my interactions with him, he's definitely the more easier to deal with and more decent ballers.
Who, Wally? Wally or Wolfie?
Yeah. Not Wolfie, Wally.
Wally. Wally. Yeah, you know that measurement you talked about. Yeah, you did that on a flat plane. You couldn't have done it any other way because you can't have a curved adjacent, Wally. You're apparently a reasonable guy. I don't know how salty it is if you're reasonable, but I'm assuming it's just as salty. Yeah. You measured a flat plane with a horizontal elevation angle. That's a flat plane proof that you just utilised to then beg the question of a sphere Earth with the angle moving from the centre of it. The one that you measured was on a flat plane, though, wasn't it, Wally? How embarrassing to be proving a flat Earth. The first thing you do before you can move on is prove we're on a flat plane. Kudos.
Hey, Nathan.
Yes.
This guy's in here.
Which guy?
Pilot.
Who's the guy? Pilot.
Physical Horizon.
Oh, okay.
He wants you to play this video.
No, I'm not playing a video,
why.
but you can tell us. You can tell us. Mike's all yours, Effie Pilot. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up? It's Effie Pilot.
Guy.
Hope you're having an Effie day.
Good to have you.
Oh, yeah, just play the video. It's all in the video. You can see the edge of the world with your very own eyes. Just zoom it in, bro.
What is the edge of the world?
Just play the video, and you'll see.
The edge of the world, is it the horizon? Hello? Is it the horizon?
Play the video, and I'll talk you through it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm asking if it's the horizon or not.
Are you scared of evidence?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
Oh, good.
Is it the horizon?
Okay,
Are you scared to answer the question about your video?
This is how it worked.
What is
I
it
was
we're
in
looking at?
Grimsby, Ontario.
Shall I start
And I
counting them
took
off?
a video.
I think that's the 4th time. 5th time. I'll try one more time. Is it the horizon?
Where it is, he said
He left.
Ontario.
He left. Let me get it correct. He came in to make his claim, asked me if I was scared to play a video, and all I said was, is it the horizon 5 times, and then he left. Do you want to know why he left? Because the horizon in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator is geometric, but we only have one horizon. And it's not geometric. The black swan shows it's beyond the limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. So no, his horizon that he was insistent on us seeing was not Earth curve. The horizon isn't Earth curve.
That's what he
So
was
he's in
wanting.
chat saying you won't play the video.
It's on
and you're
screen.
taking-
It's on screen.
So it's a 47-second video.
So it's
You might
on
wanna play it.
screen,
It's kinda stupid.
and it is indeed the horizon claimed to be a physical geometric sphere edge limitation to our view. Precisely as I asked him 5 times, he just couldn't say yes. Now, for anybody who's not blind, or had it not been brought up by Adam because I'm too lazy and can destroy the point without his bloody pictures of horizons on screen, I can just ask him 5 times if it's a horizon. Because here, we know by way of logical inference that the horizon's not Earth curve. If it was, it would be a geometric limitation to our view at radius 3959. And by the looks of this picture alone, this single still debunks that because it's in different positions.
Yeah, that's the first thing. I really wanted to say that. It's like, this is absolutely not geometric because it's 3 different positions, proving it's not geometric. And that guy wouldn't answer.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I'm saying maybe you want to play this video because it's bad.
Yeah, it's got on this still.
He might try and strike you. He might try and strike you.
I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't play videos. But ultimately
Okay.
speaking,
All right,
one
I got
still debunks his claim that he wouldn't profess to. He wouldn't say, yeah, it's the horizon. Earth curve. Like it says in my Earth curve maths. Yeah, that's what this picture will be of. Actually, it'll be of 3 different positions of Earth curve with varying different focal lengths. Check it out how the image of this wave looks very different to the image of this wave and this wave. So we've got different focal lengths. Presenting Earth curve as being more obstructive, well, that doesn't sound very physical and geometric to me. That sounds very optical. Meanwhile, your calculations don't account for optics. Everything is set at a fixed feet and inches value that doesn't change with distance. And you've got a physical geometric sphere edge blocking the view in the mathematics in Muppet Vision. This isn't a Muppet Vision representation like the Earth curve maths. And the horizon, Black Swan, isn't Earth curve. So what were you going to try and claim here, FE pilot? He's back, by the way.
Hey, glad you checked it out. You're saying it's 3 different focal lengths. That's in fact not true. It's not. It's the same focal length.
So way to major on the minors when I've pointed out that the horizon's not Earth curve. We'll talk about the focal length. The horizon's not Earth curve. We've debunked it with the Black Swan.
I just have one question. Do you know why the horizon dips lower and lower in
The
those 3
horizon
different
isn't
images?
Earth curve. Do you know why you're ignoring my rebuttal? Even though it's now the second time I'm going to repeat it. The horizon is not Earth curve. It's been debunked by the black swan. Why are you asking me about what the horizon does when it's not Earth curve? Why are you chanting why are you chanting through me before I finish my statement? Are you scared of my statement being completed without interruption? Because you're talking right now. So, I'll ask without interruption. Hopefully you'll listen. Why would you be asking me about what the horizon does when... Third time. The horizon isn't Earth curve. Black swan.
You can literally see the edge of a world. I can see the waves.
Sorry, don't chant that the horizon is Earth curve. Address my rebuttal that it isn't, because if the Earth was a sphere radius 3959, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as per the Earth curve maths. And this imagery probably shows it's beyond it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a black swan amongst this lot. But we've got imagery that shows the horizon's beyond the geometric limitations, therefore it's not Earth curve. That's the third time.
You have to trust your eyes. Can you
trust them that it's a geometric limitation to our view at radius 3959 when we've got imagery that shows it's beyond that? No, I can debunk that. Don't need to trust my eyes when I can debunk it. It's not Earth curve.
You can explain that.
Sorry, what am I explaining? Why am I explaining something when you're claiming the horizon's Earth curve and I've debunked it with the black swan modus tollens logical consistency? Why are you asking me anything? I'm not making a claim, you are. You're claiming the horizon's Earth curve and it isn't.
I don't know about your swans, Nathan.
Well then fuck off! Then you're not up to date with the flat Earth debate. Be a subscriber for a little while and listen to the actual argument. If you don't know about the black swan when I've literally paraphrase the argument 3 times to you, if the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to the horizon, that's the geometric limitation to your view you're claiming, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Now, the distance to the horizon in the black swan imagery we have is beyond those geometric limitations. Now, I've told you the argument. Do you want to paraphrase it back and explain that you've understood it now you've heard it? If you've never heard it before, you've heard it twice in the last 3 minutes.
Yet the horizon drops lower and lower.
Sorry, the horizon's not Earth curve. Who cares about it dropping? That was what you tried last time, ignoring my rebuttal to your claim the horizon's Earth curve by telling me that it's dropping. Who cares? It's not Earth curve. You haven't responded to my rebuttal. That would be the black swan argument. Do you need it a 4th time and a 5th time and a 6th time?
The black swan is a refracted mess.
So if it's refracted, it's not geometric. Bye-bye goes your R value. Your R value also required in your claim of refraction.
Can I say what this guy did to the audience? On the still Adam had up earlier, on the one on the left, he was as low to the water as he could get, right? And he was so low that the swell on the day was higher than his camera height. Then in the second still, he was a bit higher, right? He was still probably about where the swell was. And then the third one, he was above that, right? He's just raising up and going down. But he's not taking anything into account. He's just going down low where the water is swelling above where his camera height is. And he's claiming, oh, our curve. It's absolutely pathetic.
No, Brian, look at the 3 images. All 3 are taken from different positions and different orientations. Look at the background.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying.
It's not even an honest comparison saying I'm at certain heights in the same place. These are 3 different shots taken from different parts. Look, like I say, look at the orientation and the scaling of the buildings behind the tower.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I mean, he's just gone into 3 different positions and tried to claim that the horizon was geometric. What's the worst thing about this guy for me? He has the name F.E. Pilot. The aeroplane and air travel is the greatest proof that the Earth is flat that there ever was. It's greater than the sextant. It's greater than anything. And this guy thinks calling himself F.E. Pilot is some kind of a sarcastic name.
Nathan,
Get into reality, pal. Sorry, Adam. Go on.
Well, he's what, 3 years out of date, isn't he? He's coming here. And, I mean, we just analysed the picture there. But the fundamental part of his claim is that's Earth curve. He's now claiming the horizon is Earth curve, which is all Nathan had to say then was black swan. And he's, isn't he? And
yeah,
the advice, watch a few shows, mate.
Yeah, that's why I told him to F off. Basically, go and get up to times with the argument itself. If you don't understand the black swan argument, which was a total lie because he used the standard form anti-flat earth refraction rebuttal, which means he's no longer got geometry. He just doesn't understand the black swan argument. So he lied about knowing about my swans. Total lie. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Things like that. That's bizarre that someone could be that far behind.
The brand?
Yeah.
Hey Nathan, I had a sorry. No, I just had a quick question. There was a baller. They sent me something through private message. I told them to come on the after show, but they didn't. They asked me how we prevent people from begging the question of saying if the earth is like a ball, but then at the same time when we talk about the modus totem, if A therefore B, that's kind of like begging the question. So how do you refute that? Or how do you respond to that?
We're begging the question on their behalf when we use modus tollens. So modus tollens is an assertion of their claim that they insist upon, which is the begging the question fallacy of if Earth's a sphere, radius 3959. We're saying you assert Earth is a sphere, radius 3959. Okay, well, if Earth's a sphere, radius 3959, as you assume, then every distance to the horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height feet. That part of the assertion's their Earth curve maths that they assert when they tell us Earth curve gets in the way, precisely as that guy was going to do. He was going to tell us Earth curve got in the way, and the assertion comes with geometry based on Earth curve mathematics, and would put the horizon at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So all we've done so far is reiterate the globe claim in modus tollens. Then we point out that that's not true, because we show a black swan. End of globe.
We're not begging the question. We're addressing their begging of the question. So the first, if P, it's the description of their reality. So if they want to disagree with it, we don't even need to get to Q. They disagree, and that's the way out of the syllogism, where you can either disprove the statements as false and reject them, and that's the way out of it. Well, if they want to reject if P, then we're happy for them to do that, because that is kind of the point of the syllogism in the end, to reject it with evidence, yeah? But if they want to reject it early on, we're not forcing them to say that a ball is 3959. It's just their statement of their truth. So it's not a begging the question in that we're not trying to prove it's 3959, are we, within it? We're not like one of their begging the question statements. If the ball's this, then when I measure the stars, it's a statement of saying if you're making the positive statement that it's this, then it should match up with this, shouldn't it? So it's not our statement. So we're not begging the question. We're addressing their belief, aren't we?
Yeah, we're told Earth's a sphere, and we're saying, okay, if you say Earth's a sphere, then we'll have Earth curve horizons. And we don't. This image on screen right now has an horizon beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. So Earth's not a sphere, and the horizon's not Earth curve. Or it would have geometric limitations exactly as you infer when you show us the Earth curve maths and claim Earth curve's getting in the way at the horizon. What's the problem? Oh, you don't like that we've shown that your claim of Earth curve horizons doesn't match up with imagery we can take in the real world, and that it's a physical, literal physical impossibility for that to be the case if we were on a sphere. Oh, you don't like that. You'd prefer to reject the P statement as begging the question. Yeah, it's your begging the question of Earth sphere radius 3959 that is the P statement you'd be rejecting. So you don't want to reject that. You'd rather reject that every distance to horizon would be at a certain length. No, because refraction. Well, then we're not getting distance to geometric horizons, and therefore you're invalidating the P statement also. So there's no way around it. Earth's just not a sphere. Affirmed by Wally and Molly, or whatever the bloody hell their stupid names are, when they go out and measure elevation angles to luminaries by way of a flat plane. And then they assume all their religious beliefs thereafter that have been debunked by the Black Swan. That's what they can do after they've measured their angles on a flat plane. Pathetic, but that's what they're going to be doing from here on out. And after they've measured their angles on a flat plane, they won't get to beg the question of it all coming from the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. We've debunked our horizon's not Earth curve.
Hey, is this thing working?
Yes, FE pilot.
Hey, so can the horizon be refracted up?
Who cares? It's not Earth curve. You ever going to address my rebuttal? Or are you just going to keep asking me questions about the horizon which you're making claims about? I don't know why you're asking me questions. FE pilot, I'm responding to you. Are you scared?
Go.
That means shut up. You're still talking. Telling me to go when I'm in the middle of a sentence. That means you're scared of me. So don't be scared. I mean, shut up.
You don't have...
Yes, straight away when I was asking him to shut up, he's talking. So I preempted your interruption by telling you to shut up, and all you did was interrupt me telling you to shut up, you unreasonable fuck. You understand how unreasonable you are, you little twat? You're unreasonable. You haven't addressed my rebuttal. I've given it to you 5 times on a live show. That would be to say that the horizon's an Earth curve. Now, I'm not making a claim. I'm not making a claim about the horizon. You are. So why would you be asking me questions about what the horizon is, rather than responding to my rebuttal and refutation of your claim that it's horizon Earth curve, when Modus Toland's Black Swan, no, it can't be, when it's beyond the geometric limitations I had it on screen for my audience. So, no, let's not ask me questions about a claim I'm not making. I'm not using the horizon to make a claim. You are. So don't ask me anything about your horizon that's been debunked as Earth curve. Do we understand each other?
The horizon is Earth curve because we can't zoom past it.
Chanting. You're just chanting. You've ignored my rebuttal and chanted your religious belief at me. The Narnia wardrobe does take you through a portal into a different world. It just does. That's what you're doing, just chanting your faith at me. Not refuting the Black Swan. Not addressing it, not paraphrasing it back to let me know you've understood it. Which you don't. You said refraction. Meaning the horizon's not geometric. If it's refracted, it's not geometric. That was your last rebuttal. So you lied when you said you didn't understand about my swans, because you said refraction. So you're a liar. Your last rebuttal to the argument was refraction. If it's refracted, FE pilot, it is not geometric limitations blocking this view of Seattle, or wherever the hell it is. Hello?
And the horizon, both physical and optical.
So things can be physical and optical, but the horizon isn't one of those things. Because if it was physical, geometric, it would have a limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And we've got imagery beyond that. So no, it's not physical.
Is it possible that the horizon was refracted?
Why are you asking me about the horizon? Are you too fucking stupid to hear my commands? Don't ask me about it. I'm not making a claim about it. You are. Don't ask me questions about your stupid claim when I've pointed out on no less than 6 occasions that the horizon is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959. Yet to paraphrase it back, you've barked refraction at me, and I've pointed out that number 1, your refraction, that's terrestrial Earth-based refraction, needs R. Do you understand that first point? That your refraction's got an R in it? Understand? Maybe I'm unreasonable. Maybe you're scared of me.
Well, I mean, it's hard to have a conversation with...
Yeah, so he's not going to listen. He's going to tell me how difficult it is to talk to me. I'll repeat it. No, I don't need a response to how difficult I am. Do you need treating with kid gloves there, bless your little cotton socks? Listen up there, little child who needs to be talked to like he's really delicate. OK, sunshine, let me explain it to you in cuddly terms of clouds and fluffy bunnies. Your refraction, that word you barked at me, yeah, that's got an R in it in globe terms, 7/6 of the radius in standard form. Do you understand that on screen now for my audience, Al-Biruni's derivation of R by way of physical geometric sphere edge horizon that has a straight line to it? If the horizon's refracted, it's not geometric. It's the third time I've pointed this point out to you. Would you like to respond to this non-physical point that's refracted now? Because you can't get R if it's refracted. Third time.
What do you mean that refraction has an R?
7/6 of the radius in standard form. It's called terrestrial refraction, otherwise known as standard refraction, globe refraction, in atmosphere, sphere-shaped air. It's your globe refraction. Are you so stupid that you don't know that atmospheric, otherwise known as standard, otherwise known as terrestrial refractions based on R? You clearly don't know your own claim. It's why you think I'm unreasonable. You're just ignorant of your own claim, Effie Pilot. With fluffy clouds and bunny and sugar on top. You little sod. You don't understand that your own refraction claim's got an R in it? Wow. OK, let me educate you in the nicest fluffy bunny cloud way. Your refraction's got an R in it, Effie Pilot. Now, I'm not an unreasonable man, but when I point out that if you're claiming the horizon's refracted, you're not going to get a geometric value from it, and your horizon's got that geometric value you can't get any more in it, that'll be R. Do you understand? Or would you like to tell me that it's not difficult or hard or unreasonable to talk to me?
But refraction is a thing regardless of if it has R in it.
Well, yours has got R in it, so you're going to need R for your claim of refraction in sphere-shaped air, regardless of what refraction is, because your refraction comes with an R value. Regardless of what refraction is, yours has got R.
So what?
So you haven't got an R value if you can't measure it because the horizon's refracted. Do you not understand my annihilation of your claim, F.E. Pilot? Seems like you don't understand. You just don't understand, F.E. Pilot. You can't measure R if the horizon you're measuring it with's refracted. It's no longer geometric. Fourth time.
Does he even know there are two...
Do you know the formula to determine the maximum range that we can tune in the VOR or any VHF radio at altitude?
Sorry, the horizon's not Earth curve. We seem to be segueing away from your devastating loss. You asked me why it would be important to derive an R value by way of geometric horizon when your very rebuttal to the black swan argument is that the horizon is refracted, therefore incapable of geometric derivation. You don't seem to be responding to that. You seem to be now talking through me while I point out that you've segued away from the actual argument you've made. You've barked refraction. I've pointed out it has R in it, and you asked me if that was the case and then asked me if that mattered because there's still refraction. Yeah, and then I've responded to that by pointing out in my totally unreasonable, otherwise known as winning, way that your refraction definitely comes with an R value, 7/6 in standard form. That's standard refraction, also known as terrestrial refraction, also known as sphere-shaped air refraction, atmospheric refraction, all inclusive of R. You haven't responded to that. You've now asked me about a new point. Maybe it's because I'm unreasonable and difficult to debate with, otherwise known as winning.
1.23 times the square root of altitude in feet. That's the distance that you can tune in VHF radio in nautical miles. Pretty similar to distance to Earth.
And?
What I'm saying is the horizon blocks out both visible light, but also radio waves, VHF radio waves.
It's not there.
Black Swan.
What you're talking about.
Black Swan.
Guys.
Tell us about radio.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, sorry. And that proves the horizon is a geometric limitation to our view at radius 3959, as would be required to derive R to refract the horizon with R paradoxically. So UHF proves the horizon's a physical geometric sphere edge. No, Black Swan.
It seems like he's stuck in a triangle. Remember that? The triangle, terrestrial refraction, R value, geometric horizon, all that. He's stuck. So he's going to switch back and forth now.
Exactly, he's stuck in the paradox. Well, if the horizon's not geometric, because you can show it's not geometric, then it's refracted. Well, then you can't get the R value that's geometric in your refraction value because you can't measure it anymore because you've just refracted it. So you're going to go round and round in circles saying it is geometric. It isn't geometric, it's refracted. But it is geometric, I'll get an R value from it. It's blocking buildings, but it isn't geometric because of the black swan. But it is geometric because I need R in my refraction value to refract it with. And round he goes in pain. Maybe he'll ask me a few questions along the way or try and change the subject. Meanwhile, the horizon is an Earth curve. We've only got one horizon, and the horizon in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator was geometric prior to the Black Swan, 1st Jan 2020. Maybe keep up to date with the flat Earth debate, my friend.
It's only a triangle in a flat earther's mind. It's not really a triangle for anybody else. You guys are
No,
better
it's a
stuck in a triangle.
triangle of...
Sorry, you think telling me that the analogy we made with triangles is actually applicable to us rather than you? So, I'm not a triangle, you are, is your rebuttal to the fact you haven't got a physical geometric sphere edge for horizon. That's your rebuttal. No, you're a triangle. That's your rebuttal, is it?
There's no reason when I stand on the shores of Lake Ontario, but I should be able to see the CN Tower 30 miles away, and yet the horizon is only like 2 or 3 miles away. There's no reason for that to be, an optical phenomena. That is hard Earth curvature in the way.
No, it isn't. If it was, it would be a geometric limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and we've debunked that with the Black Swan. That is the 7th rendition of the argument that you are ignoring. Maybe you'd like to tell me it's refracted with an R value that can no longer be attained because you've no longer got physical geometry to measure. It's the 7th time it's been put to you, FE pilot.
But the Black Swan doesn't debunk anything. It's just...
It debunks the Earth sphere edge radius 3959 because that would be the geometric limitation claimed in the Earth curve maths, marked with an X, labelled horizon, claiming to be blocking these buildings in your claim. So yeah, it's trying to tell me that nobody's claiming the horizon's Earth curve now won't work either, FE pilot.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the horizon is Earth curve.
Well, then it would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the Black Swan shows that that is not the case. 8 times.
Where's the Black Swan in my pictures? I don't see it.
Sorry, you're saying that... Sorry, you're saying that you can show me a white swan, and that means that the black ones don't exist anymore because you've got a white one to show me? Clearly not a fan of logic. Not clearly understanding the Karl Popper comparison. Yeah, if I say that the horizon's Earth curve, that's all swans are white. I only need to show that it's not a physical geometric limitation to your view once to disprove the notion that all horizons are Earth curve. Once is all that's needed.
So your claim is that most of the time it's a globe, but every once in a while...
No, I'm not claiming most of the time it's a globe, you complete idiot. Why would my claim be most of the time it's a globe? That's not my claim, you're thick.
Because it looks like a globe.
Sorry, because it looks like a globe to you, my claim is it's mostly a globe. No, let's just get clear that your claim is the horizon's Earth curve, and if it was Earth curve, it would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's what you're claiming, but we've got imagery showing it beyond those geometric limitations. That's the 9th time you've had the argument.
So why is your claim hold more value?
Which claim
than my
would that
claim?
be? Sorry, which claim did I make again?
The Black Swan.
That's a refutation to your claim of Earth sphere radius 3959. Not my claim. That's my rebuttal to your claim that the Earth is a sphere radius 3959. I'm not claiming it. I'm ripping it a new one by showing that that geometric limitation you're claiming blocks these buildings is beyond those limitations. And I only need to show that once to disprove horizons as Earth curve. They're not geometric physical limitations because I've got imagery that shows them beyond those limitations. Your response to those images is refraction. So you acknowledge I've got imagery beyond the physical limitations you're claiming in these images, and then your response to, oh, well, it's actually a refracted geometric physical limitation. Well, it's not geometric if it's refracted. Therefore, you can't get R from it anymore by the Al-Biruni method of derivation of R by way of a tangent point horizon known as Earth curve. Because it's refracted now, right? Well, then you haven't got an R to refract it with. Now, I've repeated that in its entirety no less than 4 times to you. Not once has he acknowledged it. You've sparked refraction at me, and I've pointed out that debunks his Earth curve edge as geometric, and he'd need an R to refract it with because his refraction has R in it.
Does refraction exist?
Why are you asking me?
Because
why are you asking me?
We're having a conversation.
Oh, yeah, your refraction has got an R in it. The one you're claiming. I'm not making a claim about refraction, so I don't know why you're asking me these questions. That's called a burden of proof reversal fallacy, where you imply that your claim and then you talk through me pointing out the fallacious reasoning. Just talk straight through the middle of it. Maybe tell me I'm unreasonable to be dealing with, FE Pilot, as you chant through me pointing out that you're reversing the burden of proof. You've done it twice. You've said, so you're just claiming it's mostly a sphere with a sphere. No, I wasn't. And now you're, again, reversing the burden and making it my claim and asking me to give you evidence about the claim I've made. I haven't made one. You're claiming the horizon's Earth curve, and on no less than 10 separate occasions I've pointed out that if the Earth was a sphere, as per your claim, then the distance to horizon would be, as per the Earth curve maths, at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the imagery we have is showing it beyond that. Therefore, not a geometric limitation, and your rebuttal that you've given us of refraction means you haven't got geometry to acquire. You've had the rebuttal 10 times, FE Pilot.
Have you seen the black swan yourself?
What?
Have I seen a black swan myself? No.
Yes.
No, I haven't seen a black swan. I've seen plenty of imagery that is black swans, and there's only one required.
Well, I mean, I think
this is akin to, have you seen a black swan in person? Have you ever seen a black swan? Because I'm going to deny the existence. Because if you haven't seen a black swan in person, then all swans are still geometric horizons. Right? No, mate. Doesn't work like that.
We have a conundrum.
You're just going to deny the imagery, just a photograph denier.
I can see the waves right at the horizon.
Sorry, you're a photograph denier.
I see nothing.
You're not addressing my point. Again, every single time I make a point, you just reiterate your point and chant through me. So you're just denying that photograph then. Actually, a video. You're denying that. It's just not real.
Are you denying my video?
No, I pointed out that your video just has a claim of Earth curve edge horizons in it and then debunked that claim with logical consistency, black swan argument pointing out that if the Earth was a sphere 11 times, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And the black swan imagery you're saying, unless I've seen myself, it doesn't exist because you're just a photograph denier now. Pathetic. Yeah? Then the horizon would be at 1.2... Chant, I tell you what, middle of the 11th rendition you haven't parroted back to me, Bart, refraction, debunking your own geometry. I would suggest you just chant through it on the 11th rendition that you haven't refuted and ask me if the imagery's real, because you just basically photograph deniers.
How do we account for most of the time it being white swans and every once in a while you see a black swan?
So if the claim is all horizons are Earth curve and we show one that is an Earth curve, you're saying, what about the times that it still, to me, can be inferred to be Earth curve? Yeah, it still isn't, because it couldn't be beyond its own geometric limitations. That's 12 times.
I know it's Earth curve because I can't optically zoom through it.
That's what the black swan is doing. It's showing you're going beyond that geometric limitation. That's what the black swan is. Are you thick? Hello? The black swan shows the horizon beyond that geometric limitation your Fundy faith infers. That's what the black swan is.
I just want to point out that he just made a begging the question statement a minute ago. He said that it's most of the time it matches the globe, but the odd time it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't match the globe. It's very rare it matches the globe. Because it's not geometric. It's an optical location. Get that into your head. It's not a geometric location.
Yeah, as shown by his own bloody imagery. In his own imagery, he had the horizon at 3 different locations, proving it's not a physical geometric limitation. If it was a rock in the way, a hill in the way, it wouldn't move with the bloody weather. Hills that obscure your view don't move with the weather. But in your imagery, it's in 3 different places, debunking your own claim that it's a hill in the way. Physical Earth curve, that's a hill getting in the way. Well, it's moved, mate. Hills don't move. Earth curve, not horizon. Your own imagery proves that.
Do you know why I took 3 different pictures?
Why are you asking me? Why are you asking me? Why are you asking me? Do I know why you've done something? No, I don't know why. Why would you ask? I know the horizon's not Earth curve.
Do you want me to answer?
why the horizon's not Earth curve. You've never addressed it. I've given you 11 times. Now you're asking me about why you do something and chanting through me pointing out that you asking me why you would do something isn't addressing the fact that the horizon's not Earth curve, because it would be at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet in all instances if it was a physical limitation to your view, i.e. a hill in the way. That's 12 times you've had it. You think I need a question about why you've done something? No, I don't. I need you to respond to the 12 repetitions of the annihilation of your globe faith, not you chanting and asking me things about your claim or reversing the burden. No thanks.
I took 3 different images at 3 different elevations above the water. And the higher up I go, the more over the curve I see. That's why the horizon moves away, but it also dips down.
Right, the horizon's not Earth curve. What part of this aren't you getting?
Well, I mean, in my picture it is. In your mind it's not.
In your
but
picture
my
it is.
clearly
All right. Well, then that means you've ignored 12 renditions that if the horizon was Earth curve, then every distance to horizon measurement could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Could be no more than, i.e. couldn't exceed its own geometric limits. If it's a physical rock in the way, that's where that physical limit lies. Not beyond, it's a physical limit. Geometry of Earth says that geometric physical limit lies at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. You're saying, well, I'm showing you the limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's fascinating correlation you've got there with an optical phenomenon that is qualified in Muppet vision. Meanwhile, on screen, for my audience, a horizon beyond the limitations of a physical limitation. Ergo, horizon, not Earth curve. 13 times is that the argument. Just chant that you think it is, again, for us.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I please quickly try to explain to him why your picture might seem like it could be sort of being comported with the curvature claim, right? It's literally the visual limitation of sight. If there's a lot of stuff in the air, moist usually, then you literally see less far. And then the horizon, which is an optical phenomena where the sky appears to meet the ground or sea, will seem closer because your limit to sight is closer. And that's why you mistakenly could think it is curvature. But if it was actual geometric curvature, then it would never move. You might see a little bit more things pop up over the curve behind it if there was clearer sight, but you would never see that obstruction move into the distance. That only happens to apparent things, not geometric things.
Arwen, thanks so much for that. It's good to talk to somebody who's not that angry. But my question is, why can I see 30 miles to the CN Tower? I can see the CN Tower very clearly, yet the horizon is only a couple of miles away, especially when I'm really close to the water. I would say it's only maybe 2 miles away.
Okay, so that's called third attempt at a burden of proof reversal fallacy. You're making a positive assertion about what the horizon is, you're claiming it's Earth curve, and now you're demanding that we explain your positive assertion and justify your positive assertion. That is the third attempt at the fallacy known as burden of proof reversal fallacy. So, please don't attempt to reverse the burden of proof when your positive assertion is the horizon is Earth curve, and I have debunked your positive assertion and your claim that there is a physical Earth curve edge blocking the view of buildings. There isn't. If there was, it would be at a limitation based on your Earth curve mathematics assertion at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. This is the 14th rendition of the same exact thing. This image on screen shows the horizon beyond the limitations a sphere Earth must have if the horizon is Earth curve. You have had the same exact explanation 14 times.
Hang on. Well, how do I find the screen? What channel do I watch on YouTube?
The Black
I don't
Swan.
have the screen.
The Black Swan. It's an image of oil rigs. It's the one where you said refraction. It's something that you would now go to lying about not ever seeing when you've already responded and tried to refute it by saying refraction when we've got into an entire discussion about how your refraction needs are. You've refuted the image after lying about not knowing what my Black Swans are. So you're going to have a crack of the whip for the second time, claiming you don't know what I'm talking about, and needing to see these images of oil rigs with horizons beyond the limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Do you want to tell a little lie that you don't know what I'm talking about, perhaps?
I think you're putting entirely too much. You're hanging your whole flat Earth debate or your argument on this one image.
Oh, really? Oh, right. How can you have a curved adjacent to measure an elevation angle if this is the only argument we've got?
It's getting old. It's getting boring. You guys need to get...
Yeah, so I tried to change the subject onto how you could have a curved adjacent when measuring an elevation angle, but you didn't seem to want to listen. You just want to tell me it's one argument that we've got, and it's getting tired. Getting tired when you've had it 14 times and you haven't managed to refute it. It's getting tiresome for you who can't refute it. You've had it 14 times. So yeah, I'd see how you would see it as tiresome. I see it as me teabagging you repeatedly by pointing out the horizon's not a limitation to our view at radius 3959 values, 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height would put that limitation physically at a point that we've got evidence beyond. So you haven't refuted my 15 attempts and you've said it's boring. All right. Well, what about elevation angles, measurements that your compadres have been recently making to assert that Earth radius can be acquired by way of measurements to luminaries on the surface? Well, that required a flat Earth. You got anything to say about that if you're bored of this subject that you were trying to prove with your images of Earth curve horizons that have been debunked 15 times and you're now bored of?
I'm just really disappointed that he didn't actually respond to my explanation of his white swan observation, which was supposedly the whole problem. I explained exactly why you see that the way it looks, and he just even complimented me and then proceeded to erase it from his mind. It's ridiculous.
He's hanging his own argument on his own photograph, and he's projecting onto Nathan that Nathan is supposedly hanging it on one photograph, where the horizon is further than it should be on a globe. No, your whole stick relies on that one photograph that you took. You're hanging on to this one photograph. That's it.
Well, that being said, yeah, I hate when people say, well, there's this one image. Well, have you actually taken the argument and applied it to various different things? Because I know I have. One being a credible source I think you would think is credible, National Geographic, who partnered up with CFI investigators to debunk the flat earthers, and what they did was put a boat onto a lake, and the guy says, we're putting the camera close to the level of the water, so we know that the horizon is 1.2 miles away, and after that point, the stripes on the flag will begin to disappear. Well, guess what happened?
The horizon was beyond the boat.
Exactly. So that's the second example. Would you like 1,000 before you actually address what Nathan's been saying?
No, but he won't. He's misunderstanding the black swan on purpose because he thinks that one white swan disproves it. It's ridiculous. We're not going to get through to this guy.
What he needs to do is go out with his camera at the same location, at the same observer height for 6 months every day, and see if the horizon stays in the same place every day all the time. That's what he needs to do. And then when he's done that, he'll go, they were right. It's not a globe. No, because that's what he needs to do, because he is stuck in this. It has to be a globe, because I have a photograph where I'm really low to the water and I don't even know what swell height it was, but I'm just going to use the fact that there was a swell or a wave in the way and call that a geometric horizon.
All right, we've had, I can't remember, I think it was Eli that brought it up. Okay, National Geographic made it explicitly clear in their video that they were claiming the flag on the back of their boat was being blocked by Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's what they're claiming. Here's where the Earth curve obstructs the view of the flag. We've done all the maths. We know how far the boat is. Oh, really? So we know that the horizon we can see behind it is definitely beyond that then. Black swan. There you go. Debunked. You only need one to show it's not Earth curve. Because if it's beyond the limitations that are being claimed in that instance, then it's not Earth curve. Once is all you need.
So the whole flat Earth argument rests on one photo?
No, that's a globe debunking. You don't even understand the premise of the argument. It debunks the Earth as a sphere radius 3959 as stated in the P statement. Nothing to do with flat Earth and everything to do with debunking your claim that you're making right now. You're claiming your pictures have Earth curve horizons. We're debunking them with this argument. You see it as a flat Earth proof, and you don't understand the logic. You don't... No offence, mate. You don't belong here. You're not intelligent enough. You don't understand anything we're saying. You reversed the burden of proof 3 times.
What you don't understand.
You guys look like a bunch of wankers when you talk about.
Stutter for me, you fucking retard. You look like a twat. You want to stutter for me again, you fucking retard?
Nathan,
Come on,
pretty funny.
You know, now you need to EdCom everybody.
Yeah, now you've lost very badly. You need to tell me that we're wankers. Yeah, well, listen up, FE pilot. You just got teabagged by a flat earther 15 times, and all you can do is call me a wanker.
Keep your bags in your pants. Hey.
Yeah, no, I slap them around globe-believing idiots like you on a regular basis. That's what I do, FE pilot. You're in no position to tell me what to do here. I'm in every position to slap you around your dumb face with my nuts. That's what I'm doing. Yeah? Teabagging your dumb ass. You don't understand logic. You thought that the Black Swan argument was a proof of flat Earth. Now, at that moment, me and a lot of people in the audience knew how stupid you were. That's when you started calling us wankers. Yeah, because it's being overtly stated how thick you are. You don't understand the argument, so you don't belong here. You're too stupid to take part.
I think I can take.
Yeah, I think I'll go quite high pitched now too, while I call you thick.
So
then you're a stuttering thicko. That's what then is.
So the sextant only works on the globe because...
No, it does not only work on a globe. I asked you that question and you didn't come here to blurt out your baseless assertion when I asked you how you could have an elevation angle on a curved surface earlier, and you completely ignored me. Don't just blurt into how it can only work on a sphere. When your compadres are measuring angles on flat surfaces, you've got to measure an angle first. That requires a flat plane. So I take it we're going to segue away from your ad hom failure when you lost the last argument about Black Swan and horizons being Earth curve blocking buildings. The 15 renditions ended in you calling me a wanker. Do you want to tell me how unreasonable I am again to debate with? Because you lost badly and then called me a wanker.
You're very unreasonable.
Oh, I see. 15 renditions that you ignored completely, didn't ever parrot back, didn't refute, used refraction that needed geometry you were debunking. That was unreasonable. I see. But calling me a wanker when you didn't refute that refutation of your globe claim in modus solens, that's reasonable. Calling me a wanker when you've lost. Then changing the subject after I've called you dumb and pointed out that not understanding what a burden of proof reversal fallacy is makes you dumb. Asking me if the Black Swan argument's a flat earth proof makes you dumb. That's when you started calling me a wanker. I refuted your stupid ass 15 times and then ascribed the term dumb to you, at which point you started to use an ad hom fallacy. So I just returned the favour and started shouting how dumb you are. And then you think I'm unreasonable. Okay, well, that's how the events have transpired. You just lost, FE Pilot. And as a result, you've decided to call me unreasonable. No, I just won.
There's no reason for there to be a horizon on a flat Earth.
Oh, he's having another crack at the argument now. Sorry, what happened to calling me a wanker? Sorry, no. Every distance would be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as per the Earth curve maths on screen for my audience now. So on screen for my audience now is the Earth curve mathematics. And the horizon is marked with an X and labelled horizon and a geometric, physical limitation to anything beyond that point, ascribed with the word hidden, and a line showing how much is hidden by the physical geometric sphere edge horizon we have debunked with the Black Swan. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every distance to horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as depicted in your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator with its radius at 3959, measured by way of a geometric limitation. Now, if this point, marked with an X labelled horizon, is beyond this geometric limitation ascribed in this mathematics, then the horizon is not Earth curve and the Earth is not a sphere. That's 16 times.
What's your YouTube channel? Where do I follow this?
Oh, you can follow me daily, Monday to Friday live on Nathan Oakley 1980 and Nathan Oakley channel respectively. Be here or be sphere for daily annihilations of people just like FE Pilot, who will, upon losing, call me unreasonable and label me a wanker as an ad hominem fallacy after using 3 burden of proof reversal fallacies, begging the question repeatedly and chanting that the Earth is in fact Earth curve when they've had 15 renditions of an argument that annihilates it, and they've begged the question that an R-based geometric refraction will save them. That's the summary of my unreasonable winning here at Flat Earth Debate on Nathan Oakley 1980. Subscribe today.
There's no reason for it to be horizon on a flat Earth.
Anybody a wanker, dude?
Sorry,
We
no
have to
reason for there to be a
explain
horizon on a
every
flat
argument
Earth.
to
Sorry,
you.
did you need to hold up this straw man fallacy? Did anybody here claim horizons on flat Earths for you to refute? Or is this what's known as a straw man fallacy that you're about to burn there, pilot? Do you understand as you start interrupting me with fluffy clouds and bunnies in the most reasonable way? What that fallacy is? That'd be a straw man fallacy. Do you know what that is, you fuzzy little sod?
Define the word horizon, FE pilot.
The edge of the world. The
No, it's
tangent
not.
line between your eyes
Sorry,
and the
no, it
sphere
isn't.
and the edge of a sphere.
No, that's a begging the question fallacy that's been debunked by the Black Swan. You've had it 15 times. Do you need to chant your fundamentalist religious faith at us that the horizon is Earth curve after ignoring 15 repetitions of the same argument? According to you, it isn't, mate. You said it was refracted, so by your own standards, it's not a physical limitation as per the maths on screen marked with an X and labelled horizon. You told us yourself it was refracted.
It can be refracted.
So it's not a physical geometric limitation called Earth curve then. It's refracted. It's not geometric then. You've had that about 5 times.
So the horizon can be geometric and visual or refracted?
No.
It can be both.
If it was geometric, it would have a geometric limitation at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And we have imagery that shows the horizon beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. They're called the Black Swan. That's the 16th time you've had the same rebuttal?
Because it was refracted.
So it's not geometric then. So that's the 6th time you've had that exact same follow-up given you in rebuttal. So if it's refracted, it's not geometric. Further to that, your refraction requires the geometric value of R that you couldn't acquire if it was refracted.
My point is that there's no...
So not going to ascribe to my point or refute it, just maybe repeat your point.
Okay, sounds good. I will repeat my point.
No, I'd prefer that you actually address my refutation of the point that you've given us 16 times. I've refuted 16 times. That would be to say that if the Earth was a sphere radius 3959, then every distance to horizon, the thing you're claiming is a physical obstruction to these buildings in your imagery, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the Black Swan imagery shows that it's beyond that geometric limitation, that couldn't move if it was a physical obstruction. Further to that, you've claimed it's refracted, which would require the geometric value of R that couldn't be acquired if it was refracted, and further to that, if it's refracted, it's no longer a geometric limitation by your own admission. 17 times.
Nathan, you're stuck in a loop.
Oh, it's me stuck in a loop, refuting your claim that you chant at me. Oh, it's me repeating it because actually my refutation doesn't stand. Because you've given a really good breakdown of my refutation and then ripped it to shreds for the audience, haven't you? It's me in a loop. No, it's you just not addressing it. You haven't paraphrased it back to me, even though you've had 15 repetitions of it. You haven't refuted it anyway. You've claimed refraction, which would annihilate your own claim of geometry. But I'm the one stuck in a loop. Now that's called projection. In fluffy clouds.
Why don't you refute the fact that there's no reason for there to be horizon on a flat Earth?
Sorry, did I make a claim about it? So you're going to make a second attempt at this straw man fallacy? Again, I called you dumb because you didn't acknowledge your own straw man fallacy. Because I asked you where one of us had made a claim about the horizon for you to now be attempting to refute that claim. The answer is nobody on our side on this show to you has made a claim to prove a flat Earth with a horizon. This is what's known as a straw man fallacy. It's also known as the second time repeating it, not me stuck in a loop. You rinsing and repeating the same fallacy, that would be a straw man. You didn't acknowledge it last time. You tried to ask me a question afterwards. Now I'm giving it you for a second time. That's a straw man. It's also bordering on your fifth attempt at a burden of proof reversal fallacy because you're the one making claims about the horizon, and now you're challenging us with a straw man to answer claims about a flat Earth horizon. In fact, I'm going to lay it down now. That is definitely another burden of proof reversal fallacy and a straw man.
Nathan, what he's doing there is super sneaky, because what he's doing is saying, you can't show me how there could be an horizon on the flat Earth. But what he's actually doing is restating that the horizon is geometric. So there's no way there could be an horizon on a flat Earth, because that would mean it's not optical, it's only geometric. So he's back to the horizon is geometric. That's what he's doing there, without being honest about it.
Right.
Oh, I see.
That's exactly what he's doing.
I see. He's stuck in a circle. The very thing he accused me of when I claimed he was projecting that onto me. Yeah.
Well, I got an analogy when he says you're stuck in a loop. It's like a boxing match, and you have, let's say, as many punches or different ways to knock out an opponent as the housekeeping questions. And since this has to do with the globe, you come up for that one, which is a black swan. We'll call it an uppercut. Every time you use it, he gets knocked out. Every time you use it again, he gets knocked out. Is that all you got?
Yes.
Well, it's worse than that. He actually thinks the black swan is just a photograph, one photograph. He doesn't realize the black swan is an argument. It's just we use just one photograph. He thinks there's only one photograph ever that's like that. There's thousands of photographs like that taken every day. I took them myself. Everyone takes them.
You told them already, Brian.
Most people just don't realize they're taking them.
Brian, you already told them. Go for 6 months every day, take a picture at the same height, and you'll see your Earth curvature move.
But I'm talking about what he thinks about the black swan. He thinks it's just a photograph. He doesn't realize, no, it's an argument, but we use just that particular photograph. He doesn't seem to get that. He thinks there's one photograph where the horizon wasn't matching the globe's geometry, and that's it.
Well, let me ask him.
I think he's stuck into, if I may, I think he's stuck into geometric view, where he actually just cannot imagine the horizon not to be curvature. I think that's the fundamental problem, because everything he said has been pointing at him not being able to comprehend that the horizon may, even in the argument, not be geometric. I don't think he can even imagine this.
No, I imagine it. He told us it was refracted. He told us it was refracted.
Yeah, but if it's refracted...
It's not geometric. So by his own admission, it's not geometric if it's refracted, Arwin.
Let it go in his mind that it is geometric instead of just
but he said
optical.
it could be both. You know?
Then it could be both. No. No, we've only got... Yeah, he said it could be both. Both. That would infer there's two horizons? No, we've only got one horizon on screen. In the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, the horizon's geometric. The horizon in real life isn't geometric. By his own admission, it's refracted. So the horizon's not Earth curve. We've only got one, and it's not Earth curve.
Water always finds its own level.
Oh, sorry. Is he having another crack at proving Earth's flat by saying water finds its level?
Water always finds its own level, correct?
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Thank you. Question.
Welcome
Why
to
is my
Flat Earth.
eye level, when I look at a building 50 kilometers or 30 miles away, why is my eye level at the top of buildings, which is 30 miles away?
Sorry, have we made a claim about this? Is this another straw man? Maybe it's your attempt to reverse the burden of proof. Let's see. Did we make a claim about this for you to try and refute? Or are you trying to burn
I have a picture. I have picture evidence of it.
Or are you trying to burn a little straw man there again? Did we make a claim about this? What claim did we make?
I made the claim.
Oh, so you're going to make and refute your own claim, but you're going to be asking us about it. So it's definitely a straw man you're burning then. Definitely. You understand that fallacy, don't you? That straw man that you're burning there.
I think it's a valid question.
A valid question about a claim we've made, right? About a claim we've made. A valid question about a claim we've made. Not a straw man that you're about to burn. A valid question about a claim we've just made, right?
let's make it clear. Water at rest finds its level. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, we've moved on from that. We've welcomed him to flat Earth. Yeah. Welcome to flat Earth. Water at rest, not
what
bending.
I'm trying
around
to say
here.
is, why is my eye level when I'm standing at the
Sorry, yes, we heard. I listened to you.
top of the building?
The mic was open. Nobody interrupted you chanting Fundy. Nobody interrupted you. We did hear, we aren't deaf. Did you hear what I said in response? Maybe if I say it with a really big smile, you won't think I'm unreasonable. Did you hear the response? Or are you an unreasonable prick who doesn't listen to anything anybody says in reply and then just repeats it? What did I say in response when you said it the first time?
It was a little bit like, the Peanuts character when they talk and you don't...
Yeah, you're a fuckwit. That's not what it was like. I wasn't like the Peanuts character. I said it was a straw man. That's what I actually said. Did you listen to me pointing out this is a straw man? Because nobody's claiming this for you to ask us questions about it? Maybe you just thought it was the Peanut Man walking along in your delirium. No, definitely not the Peanut Man. Definitely me pointing out it's a straw man. Maybe you didn't listen. Maybe it's me who's unreasonable in this, and of course, you not listening to a fucking word I say is me being unreasonable. Me pointing out you're burning a straw man for the third time in a row, and you not acknowledging that logical fallacy you're using. That's me being unreasonable, isn't it, Effie Pilot? How unreasonable of me to point out your stupid fuckwittery and your fallacies that you don't acknowledge. I need 15 repetitions to move on and call me a wanker with an ad hom fallacy. Maybe you'd like to burn this straw man again. Maybe you think we didn't listen to it when you had complete clear airwaves, nobody interrupting you, and you started asking us about something that I asked you. Are we claiming anything about this? It's the second time I'm asking. You said we didn't. I pointed out it's a straw man, and now you want to do it again? Because I'm unreasonable, right? That's why you want to repeat it, even though it's been taken apart. Because of how unreasonable I am, right, Effie Pilot?
What does your panel think about this?
I think you're a fuckwit. An unreasonable fuckwit. Not only are you really thick, don't understand your own argument, didn't understand your refraction had R in it, you also called me a wanker after losing after 15 attempts of an argument you've had 18 times repeated to you in regards to modus tollens and your assertion that the Earth curve horizon's represented in your pictures, only to then go on to claim it's refracted, non-geometric, not like the maths on screen. Yeah, we've definitely pulled your arguments apart, and now I'm pointing out that you're using a straw man fallacy and asking us about things we haven't claimed, Effie Pilot. But then I'm pointing out that you think I'm unreasonable, when in fact you are the unreasonable wanker here. You understand that? You're the unreasonable one. Straw man. Straw man. It's a straw man fallacy. It's Arwen's going to interrupt this. Of course, Arwen's going to ruin it. It's a straw man, Effie Pilot. It would be unreasonable for you to not at least acknowledge that it's your second attempt. After not acknowledging the first refutation I used, it's a straw man you're trying to burn when you ask us about what you're seeing when you raise your elevation there, Effie Pilot. It's a straw man. I've said that 3 times. Are you unreasonable?
I'd like to hear what Arwen has to say.
Oh, you want Arwen to save you? That's kind of what he does in these situations. Gives my opponents a lifeline, so you can appeal to him. Meanwhile, I'm pointing out that only a very unreasonable wanker would ignore a third repetition of the fact that what you're asking us to explain and answer in regards to your height and what you see is a straw man. You did point out and agree that it's not something we're claiming here, Effie Pilot. You're just an unreasonable wanker making a straw man argument. You understand that? I've explained it to you 4 times now, you unreasonable wanker.
What are you claiming, Nathan?
That you're using a straw man fallacy when you ask us to justify something that you are making a claim about. Also bordering again on burden of proof reversal fallacy, something you've done frequently also. I'm claiming, rightly so, that you're trying to build up a little straw man to burn when you ask us about things we haven't claimed in regards to distances you're seeing. You furthermore told us that it seems like a reasonable question to ask. I then repeated that it's a straw man, but because you're an unreasonable wanker, you want to go to my panel or talk to Arwen in this situation, rather than being a reasonable man and understanding that you've used a fallacy, and you're trying to build a little straw man there.
What are you claiming about the...
Nathan, can I say something, please?
That's Sasha, by any chance? Let me guess, it's Sasha.
Listen.
Is it Sasha?
Sorry, Nathan.
Yes, it's always Sasha. When there's a lot of pressure on somebody to admit what a wanker they are, yeah, I expect you or Arwen to ruin it. So now the pressure's been relieved, Sasha. I'd prefer you shut up.
Something like a listener.
Yeah, I'd prefer you shut up, because he's asking me what I'm claiming.
Okay.
And I'm telling him, whilst now having to paraphrase it to you, that he's the one making a claim that the horizon's Earth curve. And by asking me, it's a burden of proof reversal fallacy, and currently he's not acknowledged the straw man fallacy that he's trying to build. Now, that's because he's an unreasonable wanker, but he thinks it's time to ask me what I'm claiming about something when he's come in to claim the horizon's Earth curve and it's been refuted. Now he's off his mute button while I'm summarising this, making a load of noise. Because he's, what's the words, an unreasonable wanker. Aren't you, FE Pilot? With sugar on top and cuddles. Hello? Unreasonable wanker?
Hello?
You burning a
Yes,
straw man?
go ahead.
You're burning a straw
Go
man?
ahead.
Yeah, you're burning a straw man.
I'm burning a straw man. No,
yeah, when you
no,
start
I'm asking
yes.
you
Yes, that's right.
your stand. What is your claim?
What is, you stuttering bitch? You're going to try and burn this straw man again and ask me about your claim when you're claiming geometric horizons that have been debunked and you haven't conceded? Maybe ask me about a claim I haven't made yet. What was the claim I'm making that you're asking me about there? Just tell me what the claim I made was before you start asking me about it. What was my claim?
What is your claim?
Oh, so you don't know? So you're just going to build up this question and ask me about it as a straw man fallacy then?
I'm assuming you're claiming it's flat.
Oh, you're assuming. So it's a stereotyping fallacy as well. You're assuming something about me. That's a stereotyping fallacy. Add that to the list, you dumb shit.
Flat.
Dumb shit. Yeah, I'm not unreasonable. I'm summarising a string of fallacies there, dumb shit. Is it unreasonable to summarise your fallacies, you dumb shit? You unreasonable wanker? Is it reasonable that maybe you could summarise some of the rebuttals? That would be the fallacies I point out you've used in response to me. Just once, maybe, you know, repeat my argument back to you. In
Okay,
this
let me
instance,
summarize it for you.
Before I've
Let me
even
summarize.
finished, you're talking before I've even finished. That's what's happening now. Because, again,
Just tell me when
unreasonable
to go.
wanker. You know, it's obviously his cue to talk straight through the middle of me while I ask him to at least once, just once, in the same way I describe how you describing going up a building and asking us about what you see at a certain elevation. That's me summarising your argument that I then refute and point out it's a straw man unless you can summarise the claim that we've made in regards to your question, and your response to that is to ask me what I'm claiming. Now that demonstrates just how stupid you are, FE Pilot, and how amusing for my audience it is to watch a flat earther really rip apart somebody who's called their opponent a wanker when they've lost 15 times. Yeah, it shows what an unreasonable wanker you are, with cuddles and sugar on top. Because I'm not unreasonable, you are an unreasonable wanker. Straw man.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, why are you burning a straw man? It's the same question that's been on the table for some time. Maybe one of my panel would like to interrupt this pressure that's building up that you're trying to ignore. You're burning a straw man. Didn't you get that from the 5 times I said it? Too slow?
No, flesh it out for me.
Oh, right. When we haven't made a claim about something and then you infer or assume, that would be a stereotyping straw man fallacy that you're trying to employ. You assume I claim something, so therefore you're going to ask me questions about what you've assumed I haven't claimed. There you go. That was pretty concise, I'd say, FE Pilot. Did you understand any of it? With sugar on top and fluffy clouds.
I think you're being unreasonable.
Oh, that sounds like an ad hominem fallacy. You do think I'm being unreasonable when I point out your fallacy use in terms of a straw man you're building up about a claim we haven't made. That's me being unreasonable. That's an ad hominem fallacy. Do you know what an ad hominem fallacy is? It's where you call me a name and attack me personally, rather than addressing the argument. The argument being you've started to ask me to justify what you're going to see at elevation. I've asked you what claim we've made in that regard. You don't know because we haven't made one, and you start asking me what my claim is, demonstrating admirably that you are about to burn a straw man. Now, you haven't in any way summarised it like I can summarise it, because you are quite literally shitting in your pants now, because I know you're scared of me. You already told the Discord server how scared of me you are. And I don't blame you. Because you're losing to me, a flat earther. And that must really hurt. Hurt to the point where you're going to need to talk in the middle of me pointing out to my audience that I'm absolutely annihilating you. And the only thing you can do is tell me how unreasonable I am and call me a wanker. When in fact that's projection and you are an unreasonable wanker. Who never concedes, never repeats any of the arguments back to pull them apart, ad homs, uses stereotyping fallacies, burns straw men and tries to reverse the burden of proof. That's my annihilation and summary of you, the wanker, who's been annihilated here on Flat Earth Debate. Subscribe today. Would you like to call me unreasonable?
Well, I think we need rotation, and curvature. And I have both. In spades.
You chant it, man.
Spades.
Chant it. Chant
Oh
it.
my
Chant it. I've got curvature. Chant it for us, like a zealot would.
Let me chant it.
No! Don't come here to chant at me, you fucking Fundy. Don't chant here. Don't beg the question. Address the arguments that have ripped apart your Fundy faith here. Don't just chant at me. How dare you? No! Don't chant you've got Earth curve. No! Don't chant you've got axial rotation. Address the black swan. With refraction, have it pulled apart as not being geometric. That's where we're at. It's been about 20 times. Don't just chant. Pathetic.
Is the black swan a refracted image? Yes or no?
So why are you
No.
asking me? Why are you asking me that?
Because we're having a conversation and we can't move forward until we have some agreements.
Right, your
The answer is
refutation
no.
is to say it's refracted. You've already given it me. You say it's refracted, and now, again, another burden of proof reversal fallacy. You're asking me if it's refracted. Why, when my argument is based on your claim of geometry, it's on screen for my audience, marked with an X, claimed to be blocking buildings by you, horizon, Earth curve, that's what this argument takes apart. Why would you ask me about refraction? Oh, because that's what you used in rebuttal, so therefore it becomes my claim. Yeah, another burden of proof reversal fallacy there, FE Pilot. How do my nuts taste, by the way?
I wouldn't know. I mean, that's...
Yeah, you would, because you're pretty salty right about now, given that you've had about 22 renditions of the same argument that you haven't in any way refuted. Refracted, you say? So maybe go on to ask me about whether or not I say it's refracted. You've said it's refracted, and now are you going to burn the proof reversal fallacy me? Right, FE Pilot? Do you understand the fallacy that has been pointed out? Or do we need this 6 times also like the straw man you didn't understand a few minutes ago? Because you're just thick. I mean, seriously, 6 renditions of the same thing. It means you're stupid. That's why I told you to sod off earlier. Go away, you're too thick to be here. You're not of an intellectual prowess to combat any of these arguments, FE Pilot. You're getting teabagged by a flat earther. That's why I'm asking you how salty they are. You haven't won.
I wouldn't really
You've been
call
annihilated.
it teabagging. I call it you being abusive. And
Oh, I'm abusive. It's just a harmless metaphor like the gamers use. In video games, when somebody gets shot in the face, they don't really die. It's not abuse. And likewise, when someone pulls down their pants, dangles their testicles into the face of the dying man in the video game, it's just a bit of fun. Yeah? It's a metaphor. It means you're metaphorically lying, dying, bleeding with my nuts slapping around your face in a video game. It's just a bit of fun. It's not abusive. It's just a bit of fun.
is that how your panel...
Is that you stuttering like somebody being teabagged, lying, dying? Yeah, it is, yeah.
I don't think your panel agrees with that.
Oh, you don't? Well, that would be you divining the thoughts of my panel now, wouldn't it be, Mr. Clairvoyant? How did you get
Thank
that
you.
information? Did you look into your crystal ball to divine their thoughts there? You complete clown.
I think they're more reasonable than you.
So you think that, or did you get it from your crystal ball? That was my last question, second repetition. How did you divine
I
their
hope
thoughts
they're more
again?
reasonable than you.
So are you going to mutter through the third repetition? How did you, the intellectually inferior, divine the thoughts of my panel?
I guess I was just hopeful they would be more reasonable.
Oh, hope! Oh, like every Fundy religious zealotard, the last bastion. Hope! Oh, how cute! That's really sweet that you've got hope. How
I'm not
quaint.
giving up
Oh, how
till
beautiful.
we get at least one
Praise
rover out of
be
this
to
panel.
heliocentrism. The man has hope. Hope
And he just
springs
said he's not
eternal.
going to give up because of the hope, too.
Arwen, will you come over to the globe side? We need at least one person coming.
Save me, Arwen, save me.
Come on, Arwen.
What are you
Save me,
talking
Arwen,
about?
save me.
I have Baldwin. I'm more on your side than you are, you dumb gamma bitch.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you don't know what that means. You just don't know what anything means. That's why I keep pointing out that you're thick and you see it as abuse. When you come here and demonstrate your ignorance, right, you're going to get called thick. It's a fact. Now, I know that people who are thick don't like being pointed out that they're thick. Yeah? They get rejected from a job that requires more intellectual prowess than they have accustomed, and they don't get the job. Well, that's abusive. I want to get a medal even if I lost. Yeah, pathetic, gamma, bitch. Arwen's right.
Nathan, can I say now? Nathan. I was listening 40 minutes FA pilot like a
Sorry,
listener.
go ahead,
you know?
Sasha.
And I will tell you now.
Sorry.
And I will tell you now, you're a wanker because you never ever addressed the argument. You only wanted to point it to Nathan, to say something bad about Nathan, but argument zero, nothing. Like a listener, man, not like a flat earther. You know, I was listening you. You didn't address argument in 1 second.
Let me address the argument.
Okay.
We need curvature.
I told you what happened in
go
last
ahead.
40 minutes.
Go ahead. He's going to chant that he's going to beg the question. He's already done it. But go ahead.
Let me address the argument. We need curvature and rotation. Rotation is easy. Thanks, Bob. 15 degrees per hour drift with a ring laser gyro. Every airliner and business jet measures a 15 degree per hour drift when they're initializing. No drift, airplanes no fly. Very simple. Curvature. The higher up I go in my airplane,
Don't scattergun us. Stop! Don't scattergun us with multiple claims. Let's just address them calmly and reasonably. Yeah, okay.
That's not you, Nathan.
Sorry, you've given us your claim and then you were going to go and move on to your second claim there, weren't you? Your claim was axial rotation. I heard your claim. Came through loud and clear. Let's not further down the line assume that we haven't listened to your claim. Thanks, Bob. Airliners that fly through the air account for the 15 degrees an hour drift. That was your claim. Okay, I finished. Hello. Just because I finished summarising the fuckwittery that's spewed out of your mouth, that isn't me actually refuting it yet, though, isn't it? It's doing something that you failed to do. You know, when I give you this rebuttal that you've just started talking through, because I've summarised your own point so far, you think that's the time to start talking, do you? Yeah, that's another demonstration of how you're an unreasonable wanker. Yeah, what I've done, the thing you never do, is paraphrase back your claim before I refute it. Now, bearing in mind that you will never paraphrase back my rebuttal to me and then refute it, you'll chant the same claim, even though I've just summarised your claim to now go on to refute it. You see the end of the summary of your own fucking claim as the point for you to start talking. No, mate, no fluffy clouds anymore. After I restate your claim, that thing you'll never do, summarise my rebuttal, that is, I'm going to take my pants down and take a big, steaming shit on it. I'd prefer you shut the fuck up and listen to me rip apart your claim that 15 degrees an hour drift is proved by gyroscopes. Now, based on your claim that airliners have to account for a drift, this demonstrates that you don't understand what the drift is. The airliner, when it comes to drift, wouldn't be attached to the non-inertial turning reference frame. Ergo, the airliner couldn't be experiencing drift, therefore couldn't be accounting for it with any gyroscopic motion on board, because the effect of drift is only observed from a non-inertial turning reference frame. Now, let's see if I'm right about him not understanding Coriolis effect. My friend, which reference frame is non-inertial? Go. Did he scattergun and leave?
It was probably too technical for him.
No, there was a little glitch. The voice dropped out for a few
My
seconds.
bad. It's okay, I'll ask the question again. Which reference frame is non-inertial when referring to, quote, drift?
Simple. The horizon sits on the surface of the globe.
Third time's a charm. No question was asked about the horizon. You were asked about reference frames. The question, which reference frame is non-inertial, as per your claim of drift?
I misspoke there.
Yeah,
the gyro sits on the surface of the globe. And every hour, it rotates 15 degrees.
Do you need the question again? You didn't answer my question. Are you too slow to understand the question? You know how I explained that you don't ever paraphrase back what I've said?
No,
Yeah?
because it's a flat Earth question. It's hard to understand.
So you're
It's
claiming...
nonsensical.
Yeah, nonsensical flat Earth question. Let me get it straight.
Yes.
This clown is telling me that this is a nonsensical flat Earth question when he's claiming drift. Yes, that's back to unreasonable wanker, isn't it? Yeah, he's claiming drift. I'm saying, all right, drift. Oh, right, I see. So Coriolis effect, that's 2 reference frames. I'm asking you about your claim of drift, the one you just made with gyros on aeroplanes, the thing I summarised and have now summarised for a second time. Which frame of reference is non-inertial? It's the 4th time I've asked you.
Honestly, I don't really understand the question.
You don't understand your own fucking claim? Oh, I see. So you've come here to tell us about Earth being proved with drift, and you don't even understand your own claim. Oh, right. So you are, most definitely by your own admission, intellectually inferior to us, then. You don't understand your own claim. I understand your claim, to the point where I can summarise it back to you after only hearing it once, with your examples intact. But yet you don't know which frame of reference is non-inertial in your own claim. Oh, right. I'll ask again, FE Pilot. Why do you think you need to be here? You are intellectually inferior and definitely not of the standard to be arguing this here. You're too stupid, in other words. Do you want to tell me that that's abuse, given that I've just pointed out you don't know which frame of reference to claim drift is non-inertial, when that's integral to the claim? Oh, right. So you're going to claim it anyway, even though you're really ignorant? Wow. Why are you here? My question, I'll ask again. Given your intellectual inferiority, why are you here?
That's a good question.
It is. I agree. Thank you.
I think part of it is, just learning to deal with people who are not necessarily making a lot of sense, who are angry, who are difficult to talk to, and it's maybe just a life skill that I'm trying to develop.
Yeah, ad hom fallacy. That's right.
100% projection.
It's ad hom
That's
and
more than
projection,
just an
correct?
ad hom. That's pure projection.
Correct. Well summarised, Brian and Arwin. Projection ad hom. Yeah, that's right. I asked you. I asked you. Yeah, I heard your ad homs. I asked you, given your claim is drift, that's non-inertial and inertial reference frames, Coriolis effect being the globe Earth claim, that you made, which reference frame was non-inertial? You told me you didn't understand, and your answer to why you'd be here, given you don't understand your own claim, is to deal with unreasonable, angry people. That's a non sequitur. It's another fallacy. Do you know what a non sequitur fallacy is? You fucking retard, being teabagged by a flat earther. You know what a non sequitur is? Fuckwit, retard, dumb fuck, representative of the globe faith, idiot with a faith. What did he have again, ladies and gentlemen? Hope! You better hope you know what a non sequitur is. What's a non sequitur fallacy?
Yet Bob detects a 15-degree per hour
Sorry,
drift.
Bob isn't what a non sequitur fallacy is, you stupid idiot. You're not deserving of a place to make any more claims. I've asked you what a non sequitur fallacy is. You didn't say, what's a non sequitur fallacy? Well, a non sequitur fallacy is you started talking about a person that you're attacking personally. Non sequitur fallacy. Do you know what that is? Maybe you'd like to declare your ignorance again. You don't know what a non-inertial reference frame is, even though you're claiming it. Yeah, because you're ignorant and don't deserve to be here. Now I'm repeatedly slapping you around the face with my flat earth nuts as I ask you why you'd be here, given that you don't know what a non-inertial reference frame is. Do you understand the question, Thicko?
Gotta go. The horizon is the Earth, edge of the world.
No. Asking about non-inertial reference frames. Try to keep up. I know it's stressful. The pressure's getting to you. Your brain's swelling slightly. The heat's going to make you seem to think you've got the right answer, an answer about horizons, when you're being asked why you'd be here, given you don't know what a non-inertial reference frame is. Do you want me to slow it down? Clearly, I should understand. I've told my audience he's thick, but I'm not recognising just how thick he is. Need to slow it down. Why would you be here claiming drift when you don't know what a non-inertial reference frame is. Slow enough for you, Dumbo? Why are you here? Why do you think you've got a place in this discussion?
Why don't you explain it?
Okay, I will. He thinks he's got a place in this discussion is because he's got a stereotyping fallacy and a burden of proof reversal fallacy and a straw man to burn here. He doesn't actually have any arguments that qualify his faith and hope that the Earth's a sphere. He's just got a string of logical fallacies that he wants to chant at us indefinitely so we can fulfill his superiority over us. Because he thinks we're thick, as he projects his own stupidity throughout his entire time here. That's why. There you go, there's my explanation. Dunning-Kruger. People who are thick overestimate their own ability. This guy's overestimated his own ability because he's thick. That's why. He thought he was going to win here. He lost badly, called us wankers, and then got labelled as an unreasonable wanker from that point forth. He's being asked why he would be here, given that he doesn't know what a non-inertial reference frame is, and he starts talking about the horizon, again, demonstrating the pressure that he's under and how stupid he is. There you go. Was that a good enough summary of why you're here? Not divining your thoughts, by the way. That was just based on your performance.
Point said that you're asking him this question based off of flat Earth claims or flat Earth nonsense or whatever he said, right? So that's not actually true. Because if you did know what Nathan was talking about, you would know that it's not our claim. So I have a citation here about Coriolis from ThoughtCo. Have you heard of ThoughtCo?
Okay, gotta run. Gotta go to work.
So you haven't heard of ThoughtCo? Okay,
let's
so
assume he has.
Here's how it reads from ThoughtCo. ThoughtCo.flatearthers. Oh no, that's not what it says. It just says ThoughtCo. No. The Coriolis effect is an apparent effect, an illusion produced by a rotating frame of reference. This type of effect is also known as a fictitious force or an inertial force. The Coriolis effect occurs when an object moving along a straight path is viewed from a non-fixed frame of reference. Typically, this moving frame of reference is the Earth.
Perfect. With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary Streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting the PayPal link, and all that good stuff. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!